Oh, currently on other channels, people are talking over each other incessantly and yelling quite loudly. Meanwhile, here on Who's Views, it's JT and the Whotastic panel with your latest headlines.
Hello, everybody. Yes, indeed, it's us. We are back. It's another Headlines. It's your big show here for your Sunday evenings. It is. It's Sunday, the 27th of October, 2024. Goodness me, the days are not half flying past, are they? How are you, everyone? It is lovely, lovely to see you. And I want to start straight away with a huge big shout out to Digby Strawbridge. And thank you so much for your super chat here at the top of the show. Evening, JT, and evening, the panel. Thanks for keeping us up to date in the slow death of the show we used to love. And it is a slow death, isn't it? It really, and it's a slow, painful death as well. Why they can't just let it go, I don't know. I think it's because they think they're going to make money out of it. I really, really do. How's that going for you, everybody down there in Wales? Because I don't think you're getting anywhere with that particular one. But Digby, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. And hello to everybody that's joining us in the chat. Have you heard? Silence seemed to fall this week, didn't it? How particularly strange. And on top of that, though, however, towards the weekend here, somebody called Jo Martin, who you might know about, she's something to do with Doctor Who. She's been talking about certain things. And then on the back of that, somebody else that's got something to do with Doctor Who I've never heard of, called Sharon D. Clarke. Sounds like a scientist in my book. But yeah, she's also been talking about certain stuff. We're going to be talking about all that in this show now. And as usual, I am not by myself. Let's bring them on. The Whotastic panel is Third Doctor Ian, and we've got Paul. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, listen, I want to say a huge thank you, as usual, to everybody that's been messaging and getting in touch this week, especially after our show with the Daryl Joyce's calendar the other night, which we did a review of. So thank you for all that. And also for the show that we did on Friday night with as part of our Halloween season, where we looked at another Hammer House of Horror. And thank you for everybody that's been emailing saying, oh, JT, you're going to love all this. You've got a great journey to go on, blah, blah. Because as you know, it's my first time watching these things. So it's brilliant. So thank you for that. I want to say a huge thank you to Mark Milford, to Dave Lawrence, to Problem Being, The Forbidden Man, The Thing King, Simon Leavesley, to Debbie, to Eddie Day Riley, to Rani0263, Jacob Backard, to Daryl Joyce, to I Love to Be, Cody W1, Matt N. Spiel, Silver Dalek, Lex Peter Werbra, and to Sue. Thank you so much for getting in touch, everybody, this week. And again, thank you.
Is that Suti's girlfriend you're talking about?
It could well be. It could well be there. It could well be. Well, yeah, I mean, let's get up to speed and get up to date now here. Here we are on the 27th of October. Now, where did we last leave you, everybody? Well, we left you actually with a very impromptu show. Did you see our show? As we were coming off the air last Sunday with Headlines, Bedouia messaged us saying, oh, you've just come off air, and the results of the BAFTA had been announced. Did you catch our show? This, of course, we'd gone through a few weeks ago as well. Doctor Who had been up for 5 nominations in the Welsh BAFTAs, which are BAFTA Cymru. Right, and we'd spoken about that, and then we'd all forgotten about it. Basically, let's be honest, we'd all forgotten about it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was very sad after that broadcast, and I looked on YouTube, and there's a 2.5-hour program about the awards, which was coma-inducing, I have to say. But I flicked through it to find a bit about Ncuti getting the Best Actor award. And what was really bizarre about it, I know we talked about this, he wasn't there, which is normal, which is fine, that happens. But yeah, the person presenting the award just accepted it for him. I expected Russell to run down the stairs and take it for him and deliver it to Ncuti, but it's very low-key, is what I thought about it. Considering it was Best Actor, it was a very, very low-key event for him, I think. Yeah?
Oh, really? That's very, very... Okay, well, I couldn't be bothered watching it. I don't know about you lot in the chat. It's lovely to see you all, by the way. Everybody's with us again. It's lovely, lovely, lovely to see you all. Hugh Janus is with us with Howdy. Julianne is with us with Evening All. Michael is with us saying hello. John Mason is with us saying hi, guys. What else? Oh, Paul Stanterford, nice to see you. Thank you for your email this week. Yes, the boys are back in town, Mark. Absolutely. Legion James. Hi, JT panel, and all you lovely Who viewers. Hope everyone is well. Isn't that nice?
I love
Absolutely.
being described as a panel. We sound really important. It's really good.
Doesn't it?
Really official sounding, don't you think? Yeah.
We have credibility and not just salty gammons.
Not just salty gammons, which we are, of course, because we've all been branded.
Of course, as well as, yes. Yeah.
Noel's there. Hello to Marjorie as well. Good afternoon. Well, our clocks have gone back here as well, so I hope everybody's in the UK is up to speed now. It is just gone 8 o'clock. It's 8:05. That's up as it is now. Just to remind you, 8:05. Yes, hello, Michael Q. Nice to see you as well. Nice to see everybody there. Steve Braddock's with us. Raymond is with us. Oh, yes, Bill Lowry, you were one of the few. Congratulations to everybody that got the season 25 box set today, the limited edition. I know that one down there didn't.
It's coming tomorrow, allegedly. Yeah.
Yes,
so.
I know Garbage didn't either.
Yeah,
but I can tell you that Bedweir did.
He got 3 copies on Saturday morning.
Hello to Kirsty and Garbage who are in the chat with us as well. It's good to see you. So it's good to see you all. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah, so that's where we left you last week. So we went off air last week, and then Bedweir got in touch, and we came back very quickly to talk about the fact that the BAFTA, the Cymru BAFTAs had been given out. And Ncuti, of course, had won the Best Actor for Doctor Who.
Still makes me laugh. I'm sorry. It still makes me laugh.
It's a contradiction in terms. It really is.
I don't know whether it's really too... I don't know whether...
Oxymoron.
Well, just a moron, to be quite honest. They are rewarding failure, aren't they? I mean, come on. He's come in. He's on a ticket, isn't he? He's doing the gay and black ticket, and he's achieved the most ridiculously bad ratings. I mean, in fact, no, they're worse than bad, aren't they? And what does he get for that? But a BAFTA for what, 9 episodes, 2 of which he wasn't in, and arguably the better one out of the bunch was one of the 2 that he wasn't in, and it's just, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It does nothing for the Welsh BAFTAs at all.
Well, it does nothing for the show either, does it? Because it is embarrassing. Yeah. I don't know whether to still laugh about it or cry about it. Stephen's joining us saying, yes, I caught the show. Ncuti Best Actor. Wish it was a bad dream. I mean, good for him for doing it. But as Raymond is saying here, Gatwa beat Philip Glenister.
Yeah.
How?
Now, I don't know if you've also seen, but just to add to that this week, Who viewers, some bright spark on the interweb actually put out this whole thing about how the BAFTAs in general, UK-wide, were seeking to deliberately increase their DEI award nominations and award presentations.
That's all you need to say. That's all.
It is. It is, isn't it? So there goes awards being given on talent in the show business industry now, as they're more aware of having to, as Ian said, they tick the boxes. And I just think that's a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And as we've said several times as well, throughout our shows this year, failure is being rewarded. And that's crept into society now as well, hasn't it? There is absolute nonsense now. The lunatics have taken over the asylum now, and they are in charge. And I think it's worrying on all counts. But
it's really worrying if it's not based on talent, because as someone mentioned, he beat Philip Glenister, and he's a far better actor. So if it's based on talent, he would have won.
Exactly.
I know it's subjective, but that's my opinion.
Well, and that's what this show's about. It's all about your opinion. Mark is saying, Ian, you have more credibility than that bunch in Cardiff.
Thank you, Mark.
And Mark Jones is saying to us, how much do they pay to get with the Best Actor award? And Tranter won some award for something. Well, actually, it was Julie Gardner, actually. This one, it was Julie's, which we knew about. We'd already talked about this as well, because this had been announced, because Julie was presented with the Outstanding Contribution to Television Award. Fair enough.
Rising Mad Fishwife Award.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough, because she has worked hard and she has done an awful lot for television. I mean, bearing in mind that she was working for the BBC when we first encountered Julie Gardner back in 2003. And she's now set up her own business, Bad Wolf, as well. Bad Wolf, 8 years that's been going, Bad Wolf. We might talk about that in a second, but I mean, but that's where we left the show, didn't we? That's where we left it last week. So if you didn't catch our quick broadcast after our show last week, go and look at our stunned faces as we come back and say, "Shooty Gatwa's just become the best actor ever."
And we weren't acting at all. That was genuine.
I know. Yeah. What's going on with you? You got an alien in there or something?
I don't know. It's Halloween weekend this weekend. I don't know if it's kids playing about outside, but that was very exciting for a minute. Yeah,
For a minute, it was horror of Fang Rock all over.
Could be my Dalek going past there. That was
I thought you had some tactical police outside, and it was a gunfight.
Yeah, I'm going to be arrested for not saying the right things. That's it. Yeah.
I know. Well, yeah.
You were just clearly too salty for the internet.
Far too salty. Yeah.
Unbelievable,
Komodo.
Unbelievable. It is unbelievable, isn't it, Komodo? But again, I'm just putting it out there. Some bright spark on the internet put out the BAFTA policy. That's all I'm saying on that one. We know what we're talking about. Atherson 55, best actor, crying with laughter. And Cara is saying, "Damn, I'm late again. I've got to start keeping a calendar of these events." Hey, Cara, all you have to do is ring that little bell when we put the shows out. There's a notification thing. I know what do you call it, button, tab, whatever you want to call it. You press that, and it gives you a notification half an hour before we go live. There you go. Nice and easy, that one, I hope. So yeah, there you go, Cara.
Unless YouTube has unsubscribed you, therefore you won't get them. Yeah.
Good point. Yes, please. If you have subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not, quite frankly? Come and join us here and see our weekly Yes, we see our weekly breakdowns done with a British stiff upper lip style.
When you say weekly breakdowns, what are you talking about here? Just checking.
All sorts
That'll
of
be
things.
Christmas. Come Christmas.
It can cover a multitude. A multitude of things, absolutely. Graham is saying, as always, Ian hits it on the head. Spot on, buddy. Oh, look at you. Got a fan club in tonight, I tell you.
Thank you, Graham.
Yeah, thank you, Atherson 55. My favorite part of a Sunday is Who's Views. Well, let's face it, where else are you going to be on a Sunday evening or a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday morning, wherever you are in the country, in the world? Where else would you be? Hey, B. Shooty won Best Actor. I'm just climbing back on my chair. You should have seen us last Sunday.
Yeah.
And how could Gatwa win the Welsh BAFTA, says Marjorie? Well, Marjorie, it's quite easy because he's based in Wales working on a Welsh production. Because Doctor Who is a Welsh production. It's BBC Studios with Bal Wolf, who are based in Cardiff.
Yeah, so you don't have to be that nationality to win it. I think that's what
that means. Yeah. Bill Lowry saying, Shooty Gatwa, best actor playing the Doctor in the present series of Doctor Who. Let's all think about that.
The jury's out on that one. No, the jury's come with their verdict. It's a no. Yeah. Yeah.
As Graham is saying, it says it all. Yeah. And Sir Sidney Rough Diamond is with us saying, it's called failing up.
That's definitely true.
There's a lot of it about in these days. And it's starting, quite frankly, Sir Sidney Rough Diamond, to get on my wick, quite frankly. And it's about time more and more people started to call out the nonsense. And that's certainly what we're going to be doing as we continue through into 2025, because it just doesn't seem to be going any away, as far as I'm sure. So thank you very much. Bedwy is with us in the chat as well. So nice to see you, Bedwy. He's a happy bunny today because, of course, he did get this weekend his season 25 collector's edition box set.
Did he get 3? Can you answer that?
I'm sure he didn't.
I bet he did.
Hey, I didn't know this from Komodo. The Olympics was caught altering scores to create non-white DEI podiums. Excuse me? Really? That's disgraceful. How dare they? I knew they were having I think we all know about what was happening with the TW thing, weren't they? Oh, we've got to give the award to the TWs because of the diversity and all that sort of stuff. So they were taking them off women and giving them to men. But this actually ties in quite nicely with the story we're going to be coming to soon, Komodo, about all this nonsense that's going on. It really is disgraceful. What sort of world are we creating here, guys?
Are they saying? Are these organizations saying that black and brown people are so emotionally feeble that they have to be given awards even when they don't earn it on merit?
Yes.
Because emotionally they can't cope otherwise?
Yes.
Are they actually so feeble that they demand it. I don't know. It's one or the other, but I mean, it's completely.
In the case of the Olympics, what was happening with the TWs is that they were taking the awards away from women and giving them to the TWs to be seen to be inclusive. Now that seems to be rolling into everything. Everybody wants to. Everybody is desperate to be seen to be tolerant and inclusive. It's absolute nonsense. You're doing the actual opposite because you're pushing the opposite to inclusivity. You're not treating people inclusive. You're just going, oh, you're ticking this box, we will do this. And I think that's what's coming to Doctor Who, as well as casting in general, when it comes to show business. Oh, we have to be seen to be doing this. I mean, we've mentioned it before, haven't we, guys? You look at our adverts on British television now, and I've said it many times. How can you have a black fella with a white woman and a Chinese baby? How does that work? It's absolute nonsense. So stop it. Just get back to basics. They are terrified of somebody phoning up and saying, I wasn't happy with this, and it's not this representation lark gets on my tits. It really does. And we're going to that's tying in very nicely, everybody, with what we're going to be coming to very shortly as well. John Cartwright's in the chat, and he's put this out. Please don't get me started on this one. Poppies have to have pride flags now. I just want you to know as well, it's not even the pride flag, it's the TQ cult flag. Don't get me started on that. This has taken up a lot of my time arguing against the Royal British Legion this week. Which I am shocked about, quite frankly, and I will not be buying one of your poppies until that stuff. And guess who's brought that in, everybody? A TW who's got into a position of authority there. This fella, honestly.
I think, JT, I personally, and it is just my personal view, that first 10 years of my working life with the Ministry of Defence and attached to the Army, and I worked with a lot of fantastic people in the Army, and people that were Falklands veterans who told me some incredible stories. People that worked in Ireland at the height of the Troubles told me some incredible stories, horrific stories sometimes. And I have never lost my admiration for the armed forces, and it has sod all to do with the TQ cult.
Nothing.
That poppy with that cancer attached to it, that parasite flag attached to it, is a disgrace. And I would urge everybody to boycott that organization. And if you want to give your money, give it to Help for Heroes instead.
I would agree with that. And it's just a shame after all these decades. And it's because this person who identifies as a woman is in a position of authority in this organization now. And they've all been on Stonewall training, allegedly, as well. That says it all as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And they are pushing, again, diversity and inclusion and all that. And again, not realizing you've jumped on the wrong bandwagon there, because you've just alienated so many people, including people like me who are LGB rather than TQ. It's absolute nonsense. And he's brought it in. We must do this. Oh, isn't it a good idea to do this? If anybody ever says to you, Who viewers, and I've said this before, but I'm going to keep it. If anybody ever says to you, including at work, you've got to go on unconscious bias training, tell them to do one. Tell them to do one, because that's why everything's gone up, tits up, quite frankly, including our police force. You can actually tell when they've all been on unconscious bias training, because there's that group there, mustn't do anything. This group here, get them. That's just my opinion. Dragonback, it's nice to see you. Hashtag RIP Doctor Who, you're saying. It's lovely to see you. Yes, you're absolutely right. Lex Kane has given us a super chat, which I'm not going to bring up because the answer to that is yes. And you'll see why later on, Lex. But thank you so much. David Gulvin is saying he was sure the best actor on the G. Norton show, going well, and we're filming a new series next year. Yes. Now that's why it's all gone quiet. And High Desert 004. Hello, everyone. What nonsense has happened so far? Well, tying in High Desert and also there with that comment from David. We talked about this. We mentioned it 2 weeks ago about the Graham Norton edit, alleged edit. Everything's alleged. Everything's alleged. We don't need anything trouble. So, yeah, but the edit was allegedly there. Then we talked about it again last week, didn't we, guys? Because the fallout last week had been intense. It had been everywhere. It was in many online and even print newspapers and periodicals and all this sort of stuff. It was all there. It was being reported. It was around in Doctor Who fandom. This week, nothing. And as Bjork once said, it's all gone quiet. And I find that very, very odd. Why was it shushed up? Why? I mean, I'm not saying it was shushed up back, but why has it suddenly disappeared from the news? Why was that? Why did it? Do you know what I mean? It was just went bang, move on. Am I the only one that's finding that very odd?
Well, maybe they are trying to think of a way of recovering from this, because if he's left, if that's what's happened, I hope he has, then they're trying to regroup and work out some kind of statement to give, or explain later on down the line why season 3 is not coming. I don't know, but they're just gathering their thoughts to give us some more bullshit, no doubt, I'm sure.
It's very bizarre, because he's literally had a motor mouth on him, and it's suddenly stopped. And it's either stopped because he's been told to shut up, or it's stopped because he's sacked or just not employed and not authorized to speak anymore. But it seems dodgy. But then Davis has been very quiet as well, hasn't he? And he can't shut up to save his life. And to be honest, I wish sometimes it did depend on it, but it doesn't. But he can't keep quiet, and he's been very, very quiet. So I think it's interesting. It's definitely interesting times.
Well, like I said, if they were going for season 3, they'd be singing from the rooftops, wouldn't they? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is what we're all This is what we all say. Forbidden Man is saying, "Hey GT, sorry I'm a bit late. It doesn't matter. At least you've got here. Nice to see you, mate, and thank you for your email this week." Yeah, I mean, this is what I think we're all agreeing on as fandom. Had this gone ahead with the Disney deal, they would be going, we're going for a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that was implication when they started, wasn't it? To be honest,
Yes, but now they're going on the case of like, oh no, it was always the case that we were going to announce that something after series 2. And it's the dishonesty about it all as well, isn't it? Really, I mean, as I said last week, it's a case of why don't you just tell us? Why? It's a safe face for them, I think, as well. It really, really is.
Well, they were saying, weren't they? We discussed this last week, didn't we? They were saying that they never gave advance notice of more than one season ahead. But in the original new reboot from 2005, they announced series 2 and series 3 together ahead of times after series 1. So they do that. They have got form for that, and they're just lying.
It's just nonsense. And I think a lot of us are now, as fans, reading between the lines because we're forced to. We are forced to. So if anybody comes across from this, I would say to you, look, just be professional, just be business-wise. Just say to people, this is the situation. It's not signed. We'll let you know when it is. That's it. End of story. Yesterday's chip paper. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll all move on. Hugh Janus, thank you so much for your super chat. All my bias is entirely conscious. I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying because it's getting worse now, isn't it? And we are going to come up to this because we've got 2 individuals that apparently have something to do with Doctor Who, really saying things that I found offensive here. I'm raising my awareness of what's going on a little bit more. I feel like we're going right back to the 70s when we were doing so well. Paul Stenterford, what you're saying to us, I can believe a lot of things. The Merca being a believable creature. There were more than 3 Daleks in Day of the Daleks, but Ncuti Gatwa winning Best Actor really stretches my credulity. Oh, we've done something now, haven't we? And Lex Kane is saying here, thank you for your super chat, Lex. Totally agree with you, Ian. My grandfather was in World War II and he would be spinning in his grave. I never understood this. When I noticed everybody, Lex and everybody in the chat, when I noticed around about 2015, 2016, definitely by 2017, this thing in LGB circles, and the T had been enforced on us by this point, and suddenly people were doing this Trans Day of Remembrance thing, and I was at one of these things thinking, how would that work? Because we didn't have the technology back in World War I, World War II to do all this transgenderism. Gays weren't out back then either. The gay men weren't about. They would have been terrified about coming out, and most of them wouldn't have had a life to lead to become sexually aware or anything like that, because they were all shot down as soon as they got out onto the blooming fields. Those poor
you know what? Sorry, JT. There's a very legitimate the LGB side of things. Obviously, they had to be suppressed, but they were there, and we owe a great a great debt. You just look at people like Alan Turing, who broke with his teams, broke the German ciphers and allowed for a large chunk, the majority, I think, of World War II. We actually could read pretty much every single German cipher, and they had no idea. But obviously, they had to be very careful how they used it. But all the rest, the T, the Q, the only transitioning, and I know this may sound crass, but I'll make no apologies. The only transitioning done in World War II was transitioning the enemy to the afterlife. That was it. Trans after that did not exist.
Using Turing as the example, though, look what happened to him after the war. Even though he was a hero, he was put into everything to make him heterosexual. And they used to electrocute people, and they used to do this, and used to whip him, and they used to put.
It was chemically castrated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shocking.
So chemically castrated, and it destroyed his life.
So how can these people be saying that TWs and TMs were around? No, they bloody weren't. I'm sorry, but they weren't. They might have had transvestites, and that's why they shortened the word, isn't it? There's transgenderism and there's transvestism, or how you ever say that. And totally different things. It's totally different things. Oh, you got me started now, everybody. I tell you, I'm kicking off again. I've been like this all week on social media against this lot. Dalek I is saying to us, silence is golden. I hope so in this case. Are you, though, Dalek I, like me, are you getting the feeling it's not all hunky-dory? Are you guys getting that? Are you in the chat getting that? I'm getting the feeling that because it just went suddenly, woof, they didn't even celebrate, apart from a little bit of a social media, I'd say 1, maybe 2 posts, were getting that award. And let's face it, BAFTA's a big award.
Did Russell didn't spring up on X saying "well done, Shooty" or anything like that? Did he? No,
I didn't see. If Kirsty, are you there with us, sweetie? Did he do anything on his Instagram? I didn't see anything. Kirsty certainly didn't report anything. Mind you, she's been busy. Kirsty's really good on the Instagram. She will tell me if something's going off with him because I can't be bothered listening.
But again, you think if he was celebrating that fact, he would be the first to.
He would have said something.
Promote it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. John Cartwright saying football chant. It's all gone quiet over there.
You're not singing anymore.
Right, that's the one.
Another one, yeah.
And Steve Braddock, yes, it's so quiet. If you go back to before the show debuted, you couldn't shut RTD up. It is a real contrast, isn't it, here? It really, really is. Problem Beans joins us as well. Hello, mate. How are you? It's nice to see you. He's saying here, I bought a poppy the other day, not a damn rainbow. It's like, how utterly disrespectful. It's come as a shock this week to all of us, and there's been a hell of a fuss about it on X, and part of me sees things where they're trying to backtrack, saying, no, we've got nothing to do with Stonewall. Yes, you have. It's on your website, by the way. You have.
What it looks like they're trying to do, they're trying to steal the thunder of these brave soldiers doing all these wars, and it's like, get your own thing, for God's sake, you know?
They can't. They have to, like an infestation, like a parasite. They have to attach to something and suck the life out of it.
Exactly.
And they just need to disappear. They're constantly demanding that they're heard and they're respected, whilst trying to silence and disrespect everybody else. And they need to wind their necks in sharpish. Really
well, we know this from Doctor Who as well, because it's been enforced into our favourite TV show, isn't it? In fact, it's been enforced into all our favourite TV shows, because, as you know, my theory is they looked at science fiction, fantasy fandom and went, oh, that's all white males. They need to be taught lessons. Totally missing the point of who we were.
So the next thing will be William Hartnell actually was a woman. That'll be coming out.
Well, they tried to get it in by saying he was this and that and this and that, wasn't he? And people that worked with him at the time saying, no, he wasn't that. He was a man of his time. You cannot judge people by your standards of the 21st century. What a shambles that's turning out to be, quite frankly. Really. Take me back to the 1990s. Honestly, it was tough, but it was fun.
It really was.
Paul Rose is asking us, I missed the start. Gatwa has won Best Actor for what category? Yeah, this was our backup show last week because we went off the air last week and then we came back on with the mini show because Gatwa won a BAFTA Cymru Award for Best Actor.
Best Inanimate Object, yes.
Best Tears.
And then we're also saying that after our big show last week, the Graham Norton interview was the big headline for us for 2 shows. And then this week, nothing has come off the back of it. Nothing has been said. It's as though it's all been put into the dustbin and the lid very firmly put on. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to express on the show, guys, how I'm thinking, wasn't it weird? Very, very quiet week. Nothing more. It's as though something may have gone out to say, nobody talk about this. Yeah. Not that I'm saying it has.
I think it'll be interesting to see, because obviously we've got 2 months now till the Christmas special, how they promote this and how they deal with it and how low key it might be if they're trying to sneak it out, you know.
Well,
could be very embarrassing for them, I hope.
Yeah.
Tiny, with what you've just said there, Paul, Rose has worked it out. Just think it's only 1,416 hours, 59 days or 8 weeks, 3 days until Christmas Day and Doctor Who, Joy to the World.
Yeah.
Life's too short.
Remember you talking about breakdowns earlier? That's what's going to come.
Oh, Doctor Who fans are good at that sort of stuff, but that's really woke me up. Oh, John Mason saying to us, Alan Turing saved millions of lives and they tortured him. What a disgrace.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There was a rumor, there was an urban myth with Turing. I know it's slightly off on a tangent. I think it's an urban myth, although it would be lovely if it was true. I mean, he killed himself with an apple that was laced with cyanide in the end. Absolute tragedy. What he could have done for this country in computing if he'd lived.
Oh, totally.
I think.
I've always said that if Turing had survived, if he hadn't been under that mental pressure, Britain would have hit the computer age far quicker than we did, and with him at the lead.
Oh yeah,
our computers we would have had a brand new industry in computing in our, because that's what Britain used to do, by the way. We led the world with industry, and then we would have had that to add to the arsenal, and we would have led the world. It wouldn't have been China, it wouldn't have been America, it would have been Britain. And I've always blamed the people around him at the time and society at the time, but there you go. I am slightly biased, of course.
They as I say, I think it's an urban myth, but the Apple logo with the apple with the bite taken out of it was...
No, you're kidding, really?
A homage to Turing. I think it's an urban myth, but if it was true, I think it would be wonderful. It'd give Apple... I don't like Apple stuff. I think they like...
It's a bit tasteless if it was, though, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. If it's like a tribute or something, I don't know. Like I say, I don't think it is. But if it was, it'd be... Yeah,
I'm just waiting for the day that eventually a rival company called Peach should turn up or something like that, Pear, because I could have a lot of fun with that. I want to say hello and welcome to Sean Oliver. Now, Sean, I've never seen you on Who's Views, so if you've been with us before, it's nice to see you. If you've subscribed, thank you so much. But thank you so much for your super chat, because Sean is saying to us, I really appreciate the discussions you tackle, and we really appreciate having you with us and for saying that to us and for all your super chats. So thank you. And it would be great to get everybody's viewpoints on what we're coming to very shortly as well. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, mate. It's lovely to see you all. Thank you so much. Brian Mason is with us, also saying it will all kick off after the Xmas fast. Yes, it will. Oh, yes, it will, because we're going to be ready for that. Make sure you have subscribed. Make sure you're going to be joining, because I do think that after the Christmas episode and then coming into the announcement of when the second series is going to be, I'm ready. Bring it on, I say. Oh, and here we go. Here's Sean coming back to us, the gold silver guy, saying, hey, guys, I don't always chat as I'm self-employed and Sunday is packing day. I'm usually a lurker, though. I'm going to change that to Merker. Well, it's good to see you, Sean. Thank you so much for being with us. And I hope when you're working on a Sunday, we can help you get through it and you don't get all het up. So lovely to see you, Sean. We've also got Dalek Ice saying, oh, Defo, JT, they are so tight-lipped right now. They know they failed. There is no denying that Russell has just had probably the biggest flop of his career. And yet they are. They absolutely are, aren't they? They are so in denial. Steve Thompson, hello to Drawing Jack Rabbit. Jack, nice to see you. Jack's going to be back on the show with us soon, everybody. To use a battle term, says Steve Thompson, they're keeping their heads down. I think until after the reaction to Christmas special and a new series has dropped. And don't forget, we've also got this alleged spin-off with the unit.
Well, if they've got their heads down just now, I hope they go over the top eventually. Anyway, that's disrespectful there, but yeah.
Oh, I know. It's just ridiculous. There's Jack there. Hey, everyone. Hello, Jack. I wonder what he's drawing now. I wonder what he's going to draw. Rose is also saying to us, I don't know what to watch. It depends if I have new Blu-rays or DVDs to watch, or Hotel Break. I'm getting pampered. Oh, right. Very nice. Go for your Hotel Break. And then you can tune in for our review show, as I think I've said before, Rose, and look at our review show of Joy to the World, and then you can decide whether you want to watch it. Because you know what? It might be good.
It's filmed by Stephen Moffat, so possibly.
Oh, so was Blummin'.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Please. So was some of the Christmas specials, please. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm making myself laugh now by saying it could be good. I don't expect much, to be honest. I really don't expect anything. But yeah. Right. So yeah, let's move on then. Oh, hang on. Bill's saying it was an urban myth.
As thought. Like I say, it'd have been nice though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, only a British company could really do that, couldn't they? But there you go. There you go. All right. So yeah, so it did go very, very quiet this week, everybody. It really, really did. Until the last few days. I don't know where to start with this one. This is going to be one that really gets us into some bother, I am sure. But it's out there. And the whole thing about headlines is we discuss the issues that could affect or have affected the Doctor Who world. And this one certainly does. And it's the first one is about this lady here. Now, this apparently is Jo Martin. Now, this is from an era that I have had no interest in watching at all, but apparently she's played the Doctor. How that works, I don't want to know. I don't care. But obviously it doesn't work. But she's played the Doctor. Of course she has. They had to have a black woman in there at some point, didn't they? It's like the United Colours of Benetton coming into Doctor Who over Chris Chibnall's era, wasn't it? So I know about this Timeless Child thing where he was turned into a girl and then he became every colour under the skin. So I'm imagining this is something to do with the Timeless Child where we've got this particular incarnation.
Well, we haven't. She's maybe the fugitive Doctor. Like a doctor we've never met before, a bit like the Ward Doctor, but we had done that before, so it's a bit repetitive anyway.
See, this is why I blame Who viewers, Stephen Moffat, for an awful lot. If he hadn't shooted this War Doctor in here, they wouldn't have done anything else because the numbers would have been okay, if you know what I mean. The incarnations would have been but no, let's shoot. That's why I would have rather have seen John Hurt as the baddie in that special rather, and Paul McGann in there rather than this new version. Editorial comment. Well, anyway, this lady, Jo Martin, has been speaking to the Radio Times, and I want to know what both Third Doctor Ian, Paul, and all of you think about this. Have you seen this? Let's crack on. The headline was Doctor Who's Jo Martin. I'm jealous of the generation growing up with a black doctor. The actress was once told that the Doctor couldn't be black. Let's get into the story. It continues. Jo Martin made history in 2020, of course she did, as the first black actor to play the Doctor. Of course she was. For her portrayal of Ruth Clayton, an unplaced incarnation of the Doctor, better known as the Fugitive Doctor. Since then, Ncuti Gatwa has become the latest actor to take on the Time Lord in a full-time capacity, waving a flag for people of all walks of life and creed to show anyone can be on screen. Now that is absolute nonsense right there, isn't it? The only flag he's waving is the TQ cult flag. He's not waving anything else.
So can I start with who said the Doctor couldn't be black?
Well, we're coming to that. Yeah, we're coming to that. Let's carry on with it. It goes on here. Now, in an exclusive interview with RadioTimes.com, Jo Martin explained that she still gets goosebumps thinking of her casting. Colin Baker is my Doctor. I've been watching Doctor Who from then, she said. So bearing in mind, that's 1985 and 1986, everyone. So there you go. She didn't watch much of it because it was off the air a few years later. I'd use all my mum's foil to make up my cousins as Daleks, and I'd be the Doctor. They'd say, but you can't be the Doctor. The Doctor's not a girl. The Doctor's not black. So it was their immediate family.
Oh, really?
And so when this job came up and it was revealed to me who I was really going to be, because when I originally auditioned, no one told me what I was auditioning for. I think if I'd known, I would have blown the audition. I would have been too nervous. I would have been like, oh my God, it's too much. It's too big. Reflecting on the role, Martin told RadioTime.com that it made her think of the little girl in her. She continued, the amount of messages I've had from people from around the world, from Brazil to Australia to America to this country, people of colour who have reached out, females of colour who have just said thank you. Now, how that happens when no bugger was watching the episode, I don't know. And I've shed many a tear about it, but happy tears because I'm also jealous, because I wish I'd had this when I was young. Here we go with this representation nonsense, everybody. But everything has a journey to go on, and times change slowly, but they do change. And although you know the recent history we had recently with people going mad on the streets of the UK, that was quite something. It was quite an eye-opener to think that the colour of someone's skin is still going to be a problem. But hey, we've got our first black Doctor amongst all of that, and I take my hat off to the BBC and all who sail with that show, that they made that choice. Unbelievable. Martin isn't the only person to have praised the BBC for its decision in casting Ncuti, with the show's first director, Waris Hussein, calling the casting a victory. in celebration of the show's 60th anniversary last year. Hussein told Radio Times magazine, it does. It was the first I was the first British Asian in my field to be doing what I was doing. What did worry me internally was working on set and all these people watching me. I think to myself, they're waiting to see, will I fall flat on my face? I'm not going to fall on my face. Now, what that's got to do with this, I have no idea, but it was in there. Back to Jo Martin, speaking further of her casting as the Doctor, Martin added, and the fact that you've got a middle-aged woman, it just should never happen, really, because we're invisible. If you're a woman past 35, if you're a woman that's not a size 8, if you're a black woman, you're kind of in the sideline, you are invisible. So I tick all of those boxes, and guess what? I'm visible, and I'm very proud to fly the flag.
The bizarre thing about this is, every time I'll be so accepting, and I'm happy to a black actor be the Doctor. I've no problem at the slightest.
None of us do.
It's the idea of everything seems to be a problem. If you don't mention it and just make a person, a black doctor, an actor, a doctor, isn't that enough? You know, it should be fine. You know,
it's always about the labeling, isn't it, Paul? It's always about the tick box thing. And this article and the next one we're going to be looking at really wound me up, because I just thought, why are these people, these alleged liberals, ideologists in my book, why are they so intent and obsessed with this representation and doing this and doing this and doing this and doing? I mean, they're the ones that are making the barriers. They are putting up barriers. They are bringing in segregation. They are showing this and this. Now, I know for a fact that if Doctor Who had continued into the 90s and had JNT continued with it, we would have had a black actor in the role very, very early into that decade. Yeah, because there were more black actors coming through. Now, for those of you outside the UK who don't know this, we're not the USA. We don't have the same history. We didn't have the same multicultural country at that time. It was all starting to change in the 80s. You know, I've said it before. I didn't meet a black person until I went to university at the age of 18. That was 1988. Because it just wasn't where I lived. I had to go to a city. You know.
I would say. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
No, go on, Paul. Finish.
I was just going to say about actors playing the part. I've said many times before, it isn't about whether someone's black or a woman or whatever. It's about whether they can play the part. And Jo Martin isn't really the Doctor. She's much better than Jodie Whittaker, but that's a low bar to follow, to be honest. But,
I completely agree with that. I mean, I hated, as you know, the entire Whittaker era. It's fake Doctor Who, as far as I'm concerned. It's not my canon that I like to represent. And however, I have to say that out of the two of them, she acted Whittaker off the park. You know, but this whole, you've got to now have a black, you've now got to have a woman. You know, it's why do you have to? Why do you have to? Because what is it that says it's only got validity if you have a black this or a black that or a woman this or a woman that? It just doesn't make sense. And they're always wanting representation, but they're never wanting proportion. Because let's face it, if they wanted it a fair proportion, it'd be about 10 to 13% of the population, the end. The rest would be white. And we know it's like 50% or more. So it's way overrepresented anyway. You see TQI everywhere, and it's less than 0.3 of 1% of the population. Why don't we have their representation at that accurate proportion on TV? But we don't. It feels like it's 90% because they're bloody everywhere. But the whole female Doctor was rubbish because the Doctor's a male. Yes. The whole black Doctor thing, I don't give two shites, frankly. I really don't. I don't care if the Doctor is a black man. I don't care at all. And if he's a gay actor, I don't give a stuff about that either, as long as it does not make its way onto screen and the stories aren't about it.
Which is unfortunately what they've done, isn't it? They've gone behind that. Yeah. They've decided to put in this whole Q element of it, because it's nothing to do with LGBT. They've put in this whole Q element into it because that's what they believe. I think this is society going backwards, and it's British society going backwards. And that's why they've got the problems now, because we have very privileged people walking around now thinking that they are empowered above the rest of us. And the racism is there. The racism is there, but it's the other way. It really is the other way. I mean, it's becoming like South Africa did, in my eyes. I think we're in danger of doing that. It's like Paul Rose said to us earlier. It's still racism, just 180 degrees from the way it used to be historically.
Yeah.
Can't we just get back to a middle ground normality? It's a shame because I think I've said it before. At the turn of the century, I think we were almost there, Paul Rose. I think we were almost there. I think we were basically, we had got rid of labels, we got rid of badges, we were working together. We were looking at how to benefit everything, and it's just somewhere on the line it's gone mad. And then we've got all this entertainment industry as well with huge chips on their shoulder, huge, and forgetting the fact that Britain was Britain. Go back and look at pictures of the United Kingdom right up to the late 80s, early 90s, and all you will see are white people, predominantly white people, because that's what we were. And that's why we didn't have this wonderful. I can only name one real actor in the 70s, and that was Don Warrington. And he got all the work.
Well, him and Rudolph Walker, certainly. That was probably the main two, yeah.
And he was, and they were both brilliant, weren't they? And there was the chap that eventually went into EastEnders from the Love Thy Neighbour show.
That's Rudolph Walker, yeah.
Oh, that's him, right. Well,
yeah.
How groundbreaking was that show?
Yeah.
That, and I remember at the time a sort of, oh my gosh, these people have come into the country and they're living next door.
Yeah.
But we were a totally different country. And these people of a certain age don't understand that, I don't think. I think they think it's been around because they may have lived in London or Birmingham, wherever. It hasn't been like that across the country at all.
No.
And, we're going to get called ists and all sorts now, aren't we? But we're reacting to this story because if anybody are the ists and the bigots and it's the entertainment industry with all these people with chips on their shoulder. Armour Ray, nice to see you. BBC and Doctor Who are influenced by CRT and advisors paid a fortune. One problem with critical race theory is that it thinks we are in pre-1860 USA. It does, doesn't it? And the fact is, everything that's being taught in British businesses and organizations is American. It's absolutely come from American unconscious bias courses. And I just think it's shocking because they're not going to understand the fact we are not American. Bill Lowry saying Joe Martin with around 5 minutes of screen time initially was the Doctor, especially standing next to Jodie. Not in my eyes, because the Doctor is not so.
Well, compared to Jodie, she certainly was. Yeah.
Not the Doctor. Fugitive Doctor, Fugitive Anne Boleyn, and that went well. And I mean, it was a pile of rubbish. Yeah, we've all got this casting now. It's happening a lot now where they're turning historical white characters. We've had it in Doctor Who. Remember on that second, what was it called? The Deep Blue Sea or whatever it's called. I don't know.
Wild Blue Yonder.
Yeah, whatever.
Deep Blue Sea sounds like a chippy, JT.
Well, it's also a song. That's why I get mixed up.
It was a film about sharks in the 90s.
Oh, maybe it was, yeah.
Maybe it was, yeah. Awful
Intelligent sharks.
Awful. Terrible CGI. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, they did it there, didn't they? They did it there. They race swapped it because, again, as you were saying earlier, Ian, it's the tick boxing element. They don't care about anything else. It's to up the representation. And it
so annoys me though historically when they do that because it's rewriting history. I've no issue with black actors being in black stories or black dramas or whatever. That's fine. But if it's a historical thing that doesn't reflect the time, you're not telling the truth. It doesn't make any sense.
Anne Boleyn and Elizabeth I were not black.
Yeah,
they were not black. So get over it. I mean, you wouldn't do it the other way. You wouldn't dare show business. You would not dare take Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela or any of the big heroes we have and turn them white. You would not do it. You wouldn't dare because you're hypocrites. And yet it's okay to take a white person and cast a black person or a person of color in it. You are utter hypocrites, the lot of you. And it's no wonder that people are falling out of love with your industry because it's shocking. We see through you. Get off your high horses and just give us entertainment or get off and go and get a job in somewhere else. What's this from Problem Being? Yeah, she was carrying a massive great gun. So doctory. What? She had a gun?
Yeah. She had a gun.
She had a gun.
Yeah.
The doctor doesn't have a gun.
Well, she wasn't the Doctor though, really, was she? Helen, if we're honest.
Well, I wouldn't have watched that at all. I don't know.
The only decent thing out of that is you saw the modern version of the original Hartnell console room.
Which was lovely. Yeah.
Which was absolutely.
I've seen pictures of that. But do you know what, though? I think you've all been taken in by the fact they had it all in stock and they just rearranged the walls. That's all
yeah,
they
yeah,
did.
yeah.
They took all the walls from the previous things. It was all it's been seen in Capaldi's era and all this, and the Adventures in Space and Time. And they give it a lick of paint. They rearranged the walls, stuck the console in the middle, stuck some lights on it, ta-da! And you all fell for it.
It still looked better than Whittaker's console room, though, didn't it?
What we
the
got
Time
there?
Monster one's better than that one.
Yeah.
Kara's saying to us, I have no issue with the Doctor being black. Exactly, none of us do. And yet the assumption from a lot of these people is that we did. What I have an issue with is the words the scriptwriters put in the Doctor's mouth. That's a lovely point. Thank you, Kara. I don't think any of us are that obsessed with colour. The only thing I got upset with, and I know a lot of us did, was the unnecessary gender change. Because it was unnecessary. And as they proved, it was a tick boxing element, because they did that stupid trailer, didn't they? Where she breaks a window or something. Do you remember?
Glass
the
ceiling
caves in.
Yeah.
Oops.
But
that's also, what I knew. You've just proved that you did do it for reasons there.
It's also a ratings grab as well, wasn't it? They wanted to open with a bang, effectively, and that was the only way they could go with it. I think,
Well, I also think it's because I also think personally it's because the BBC was so absolutely sure that Hillary was going to get in America.
Yeah.
It's that long ago now. I'm absolutely certain they thought she's going to get in. Oh, we might as well just jump on the back. And we all know that Chris Chibnall only took the position of showrunner if he could have a female Doctor.
Yeah.
Think that one through about that incumbent.
He would have crucified JNT in the 80s if he'd done that.
Oh, he would have. Yeah.
No,
he was an
arch
hypocrite.
Part of me, he would. I was there. I've said it before. I was there years and years ago. I think it was the Doctor Who local group in Liverpool, and he was at one or two. I was at. I didn't get to know him, but I remember him saying something along the lines of, "It'll be a brave man that puts a woman in the role," and it turned out to be him. And I always remember that because I thought, oh, please, here we go. Hello to Legion of James. Those who are most obsessed with the colour are in fact the actual racists. Seeing the world through colour of skin is the problem. I genuinely feel sorry for these insecure, self-loathing people. Well said, Legion of James. And I do too, because they've taken us back 40 years in everything. And sometimes I sit there and I just think, why did we bother? Why did we bother to try, my generation, our generation, why did we try to improve everything with a bit of rock and roll and good stuff? Because why did we bother? Because we're back to where we were.
I hate, though, I really do hate these people that will, if they're interviewed or wherever, they start their sentences with, as a black person or as a person of colour.
It's just ridiculous,
it's
isn't
like,
it? Yeah.
What are you saying that is your primary defining feature?
Quality.
And then are you saying you are better than us of pale colour?
Yeah.
I mean, that is racism, isn't it? And we are getting a lot of it from the entertainment industry right now because they feel empowered after all that nonsense in 2020, especially, which has brought all this nonsense out.
Yeah.
And this week's been a very bad week in the UK as well, with a lot of ideological liberals jumping on a bandwagon that was quickly shut down when the truth came out about a certain individual. And then they went quiet as well, thankfully, because I thought, oh, here we go. And then the truth comes out and not one of them bothers to apologise when certain people, certain MPs and certain mayors should be apologising for what they said, in my opinion. Matt, the silent wee music king, black and all women can be the Doctor. It's just a shame the BBC ruins it. Of course, I'm always going to disagree with you, Matt, about a woman playing the Doctor. The Doctor is not a woman. 26 years of superior time travel proved that. And thankfully, so did Jodie Whittaker, because she was that bad and the ratings were that bad and the British public rejected it. The Doctor is not a woman, and unnecessary gender changing in Time Lords shouldn't be there. And, it's one of the reasons I think the series shouldn't be there, because it's all gone to pot. Problem being is saying, go back to bloody Holby City or Casualty or whatever soap rubbish where you belong. Yeah, I didn't know this. Now, a lot of the actors that have come into Doctor Who over the last, 7 years are from soaps and things like Casualty and Holby. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Is that because they're all part of the clique around Wales?
Possibly. I know that Casualty and Holby are made in Cardiff, aren't they? So probably, yeah.
It's a shame if it is. Joe Bedweir is saying Joe Martin was great in those Tesco adverts. Made me want a burger. I don't remember those at all. Are they recent, Bedweir?
Was she dressed as the Doctor? Did that encourage you? I don't know.
Yeah. Going back to the article, Paul Rose is saying a victory for whom?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Why? I mean, as they say themselves, times change, and it does take ages to change. Certainly in the United Kingdom, it took ages to change because we just certainly weren't multicultural, diverse in the 70s and 80s, and even the beginning of the 90s.
I wonder what reaction they would have got if they'd sold Shooty just as another actor and just put him in the role, did it, and they wrote it like the Doctor. He was maybe a better actor, and it was a better show. It may have been a better reaction from the audience. It wasn't, insulting to the actor.
You're right, Paul. They've had so many opportunities to create good spin-offs over the years, haven't they? I wouldn't have liked to see that Paternoster lot, quite frankly, but that would have got some of the people watching it. They also had, they've had some from the Russell T Davies original. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but you could have done Romana and cast a black woman. A good, strong actress. If you wanted to tick box, you could. None of us would have flinched. I tell you, if they come back and said, "Here's Romana 3," and it was a fabulous woman who got the role and nailed it and good script, none of us would have flinched if she'd been a person of color.
Joe Martin had been Romana, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely
none of us would have known. But they had to use an established, legendary British character to push home their agendas, and it's backfired 3 times now, and they're still not listening. And by that I mean Whittaker, the Joe Martin
Tennant.
one.
And
actually,
Tennant
you can include Tennant in there as well if you wanted to, because he's the token in the middle of them all. And now Gatwa. The series is done. It's over because of your nonsense, people. Robert Payne is saying she can't be the first Black Doctor because there was nobody prior to Hartnell who was the first Doctor and who left Gallifrey. Yes, and the series actually proved that as well, didn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's all these theories about that Joe Martin's meant to be a prior first Doctor, or there's another rumor or another suggestion, rather, not a rumor, that it could be between Troughton and Pertwee, which is absolute nonsense.
Nonsense,
absolute
nonsense.
Absolute nonsense.
And let's say this is Moffat's fault.
Yeah,
and I'll never forget.
It absolutely is. I think she was the interpretation that I got was that she was one of these pre-Hartnell Doctors, and the thing is, if she was a pre-Hartnell Doctor and she was looking around in a TARDIS, then how come Hartnell stole a TARDIS to get off Gallifrey? And his first visit with Susan was to his first recorded visit with Susan was to 1960s London, where it took the shape of a police box and stuck. Yet Martin's TARDIS was also a police box.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense either, does it?
It makes none of it makes any sense at all. None of it.
I don't know why he didn't. If he was going to go down that route, this idiot, why didn't he just present her as a possible future one?
Yeah,
because we also know the Valyard, and that's not happened yet. And of course, poor old Michael Jason is never included in that lineup, and yet he is the Doctor. He's got more right to be in those lineups than Joe Martin, Jodie Whittaker, or Ncuti Gatwa now, in my eyes.
Well, he's got as much screen time as all of them, I think. Yeah. In fact, more.
They give them these roles.
Yeah.
They give them these roles because they're basically saying, and again, this is something we've touched on before. They're basically saying, "Here you are, love. Have this established role because you're not competent to create one from scratch. Here you are. It's been going 60 years. It should be fine. There you go."
And it's shocking how they did it, isn't it? And it really has fallen flat on its face.
But it's very disrespectful of female actors.
Well, it is. But it's also, from my point of view as a Doctor Who fan, it's disrespectful to the Doctor, our lovely, lovely favourite character, because it was proven in the narrative that he wasn't a female of his species. It was proven that the Time Lords of Gallifrey could not do that. That's why they shoehorned it in with Capaldi. Remember, I remember that night when I watched that episode, whatever it was, and the captain of the guard regenerated into a female. And I went, "Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. We know what's coming next."
He was sat on the roof with Bill Potts, wasn't he, having chips or something and talking about how they can change gender. And it's like, it's all being lined up.
Yes.
Being lined up, ready.
Well, Moffat would have known at that point that they cast a woman.
Yeah.
That was coming next. Kirsty is saying to us, create Black stories or Asian stories or Maori stories, whatever. Set characters don't need to save lives or make you feel better. Good point, Kirst. Well said.
Yeah.
And Legion of James, it's utter nonsense and a genuine lack of awareness, character and depth, having to see yourself on screen physically to relate. I loved Buffy, but I ain't a blonde female vampire slayer. That's the whole point of representation and why I get annoyed. Oh, you have to have representation in everything now. So somebody who's watching it can... Why? Why? Especially when it's science fiction and fantasy. You know, I've said it before. As science fiction fans, we've been associating with green men and women for years. Look at the woman in Star Trek, for heaven's sake. Back in the 60s, she was bright green. You know, there's all this sort of stuff. In Doctor Who, we've had draconians, we've had sea devils, we've had all sorts of monsters. We've been fraternizing with all different species, all different colors and textures for decades. And they suddenly came along saying, no, you need to have this. That's the entertainment industry for you. Hello to Rick Storm. I was looking forward, albeit skeptically, to when Jodie Whittaker took over, but the writing killed it for me. There we go. And Andy Owen, it's nice to see you. It says police box ticking. That's very good. Shep Meister, it's lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. I'll never understand the praise she received for playing her doctor. No on-screen charisma at all.
Because none of them dare critique her accurately.
Yeah.
That's why. They don't.
Although we do, don't we? We all do.
Yeah. Oh, we do. But they fear cancellation, so they won't do it. They're petrified.
Yeah. Armor Ray is saying a black Time Lord whose parents are a Time Lord and another species are a human. That's okay. Not all this. The Doctor is now a chameleon. It's a good point, Armor. Do you remember in Series 3 they had that wonderful, acclaimed by fans now flashback to Gallifrey, where the Doctor and the Master are young boys.
Yeah.
And they're looking into the schism, the time corridor, effectively, aren't they? Do you remember there's a black Time Lord in the back?
Yeah.
Was there any fuss?
No.
Did we all accept
it?
I don't think he was even in the back. I think at one point, as they looked in, he was quite close front of camera because he did that kind of like nod and everything. But yeah, absolutely. Who cared?
I know it doesn't count. They had Don Warrington playing Rassilon in Big Finish. You know what I mean? So that wasn't a big fuss either. You know.
Oh, I remember that he did. And he was very good as well. I mean, Don Warrington. I mean, as I say, he was huge at the time because he was a good actor. He'd done Shakespeare and everything, but he wasn't he? He's a lovely actor. He's got that
fantastic voice as well. Lovely, yeah.
Exactly, which is why he's good for audio, and why he's never been on Doctor Who proper. I don't know because
he's in Rise of the Cybermen. He's the president of that one. Yeah.
Oh, so he is. Yeah. Oh, it's a shame he didn't get a proper part. He could have played a proper villain there as well, wouldn't he? No, I've forgotten about that. You are right. I stand corrected. Hugh Janus is saying to us, triple box ticker that disappeared without a trace. Yes, that's true, Matt. The UK was responsible for abolishing slavery. Yes, it was. People don't realize that. And I know that certain Americans, I've seen it on the Tube of Who, they go back and look at this and they go, what? Yeah.
We almost bankrupted the country and we finished paying off the debt for the abolition of slavery across the world in 2015.
Yeah, true. Here we go with Keyring of Raslan saying, with respect, you are 3 white guys, 4 if you include me. We cannot generally know what it's like to be black and female and how the lack of representation would affect us if we were. And you see, again, I don't believe that at all with respect, Keyring of Raslan. I do not. I'm a gay man. I didn't have representation. I didn't need representation because I knew that entertainment was entertainment. I went out in the late 80s and dealt with all manner of nonsense and crap that you can't possibly imagine, including physical abuse, for years. And it toughened me up and it got me strong. I didn't need somebody on the television that I wasn't going to watch either to say, look at it. I had John Inman, God bless him. I had Larry Grayson, God bless him. I had Dick Emery doing his little bits and pieces. He wasn't gay at all. But they were the ones, that's who I grew up with. And I knew that the reality was different. I didn't need
I don't want representation. I want escapism. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what entertainment's supposed to be.
In the early noughties, you know, when there was no Doctor Who and everything, I absolutely, like millions of others, I absolutely loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I really did. It was just something different. It was glorious escapism. I didn't feel that I needed representation, that all the Slayers were female. I didn't need it. I didn't need to see a Slayer character that was male. Now, you know, there was a male character, Xander, who was a bit of a dickhead, to be quite honest. He was a bit of a prat most of the time. And he ended up being, you know, the one that would do the pratfalls would generally be him. Oh. So the lead male, a main male character was a bit of an idiot. All the other strong characters were all female. Did I feel I needed representation? Not in the slightest. Do I feel angry that if I look at Nigerian television or whatever, it's 100% black? I know there's white people that live in Nigeria, but their TV is 100% black.
Yes, I was going to say that why is Britain so pushing all this representation nonsense and all this, and then you will go, as Ian says there, to another country and they don't care, and it's all the other way, and you are not. I mean, you know, I just find it all hypocritical again. And the fact is now, Kieran Gavaslan as well, it's all enforced. It's not genuine in any way, shape, or form. You can see it in the adverts. You can see it in all the shows. You can see when the tick box element has been put in there because it doesn't fit. It jars with the show. You know, I was watching a couple of years ago, or last year, whenever it was, Vera with the beautiful, wonderful, very talented Brenda Blethyn, who's just given up the role. And part of me wonders why. Anyway, there was an episode there where a TW was just in it and it didn't work. And you could tell it was just there to tick the box, and it didn't work. It was such a shame, but that's happening with all of it. And in Doctor Who, that's happened now. Whittaker was there simply because Chibnall wanted a woman that wanted to tick the box. And then I reckon as well, when he's introduced this Joe Martin version, he's done it because after the first year, people like me were always going on about it was established in the original series that the Doctor was born a male. And then he went back and rewrote that because I think he heard that. Oh, well, I'm having you. I'm going to change the continuity of the character. I'm going to change the entire character to suit where I need this to be, to say, no, he can be everything. He can't. It just doesn't suit.
I think it's disrespectful to actors as well, because people should get the job on talent. Yeah. If they're right for the part, they should get the job. If they happen to be disabled, black, Chinese, trans, or whatever, that's okay if they're right for the part and talented enough to play that part. That's the important thing. Like going for a job, you have to be qualified to do a certain job. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just think it's all a bit sort of, I don't know. I think it's all enforced. I think it's all enforced now, and I think it's all.
Well, you're right. We do see it everywhere, don't we? It sneaks in everywhere. You know, in the same way. Firefighters, for example, they have quotas, or they're encouraged now to employ female firefighters, and that's okay as far as it goes. But she'd have to be a fairly beefy firefighter, say, to carry one of us down 5 flights of stairs in a burning building. She probably wouldn't be able to lift us up. No disrespect, very brave firefighters, full stop, across the board. But you know what I mean? They're putting them in roles that they aren't necessarily suited to do, just to tick boxes, and it infests everywhere, and it's not good for anything ever, I think.
Yeah. And it's also got into business now as well. As I've said before, you know, there are examples of people that have been put in to roles that they are absolutely unsuited for, and then the business is left with the problem because they can't do the job. Schempmeister is saying to us here, according to RTD's novelization of Rose, which is a pile of poo, by the way, avoid, the Doctor can be a young girl in a wheelchair. Yes, I got this. And that's what I mean. Oh, look, we can do this. We can do this. Oh, we'll shove it in. And we all know what he's like now, don't we? We've seen the true RTD over the last couple of years. We know what he's like now. But yeah, it's absolutely nonsense. Of course, the Doctor can't be. But it's down to representation. The Doctor's an action hero. I'm afraid he can't be in a wheelchair. How's he going to get away from a Dalek within 2 minutes? Yeah, within 2 seconds, rather. He can't. So the Dalek's going to zap him immediately. Unless you're in RTD's world, where the Daleks are so problematic, he won't allow them to be in the show, possibly, allegedly. You know, I don't think...
When Davis wrote the script originally in 2003, that wasn't in his mind at all. That's...
No, he just wrote the Doctor.
He's doing it retrospectively, isn't he, in the book?
Yes, absolutely. He really is, because he can now. And because he's one of these ideological liberals as well, with all his little cult around him, he feels he can do this. He feels he can put all this in, because they're on the right side of history. But think about the actual problems with it. Somebody was saying on social media this year, that's why all the ramps have been put in. Yeah. You know, and people and fans, by the way, are now expecting a trans Doctor after Shooty. Well, that would really kill the show, because the British public will not tolerate that. I mean,
okay, this is a science fiction show, I understand that, but that makes no sense if it were to be a trans Doctor, because trans suggest surgery. Well, the Doctor doesn't need to have surgery. It's a time where you regenerate. So why would you regenerate into a trans person? That doesn't make any sense.
Or why would you regenerate into somebody who doesn't have the ability of full ability of their legs?
Yeah, it's weird.
You wouldn't. It wouldn't, and the show just wouldn't work. So what a stupid thing to do, and even in the book. That's what put me off, Rose. That's why I sold it. I got rid of it. And that's why I didn't buy the illustrated version of it either. But when that Target book came through and I got to that bit and I read it, I thought, no, close the book and got rid of it. I thought, that is not staying on my shelves. And anything from the TV movie onwards, well, after the TV movie, doesn't count. And that's why I won't buy all these new versions of the Targets, apart from the fact they're all really, really expensive. Why should I support this new reboot version of Doctor Who since 2005 when they're rewriting it in their 2024 image?
Yeah,
it's absolutely nonsense. John Mason is saying we were doing so well until a few years ago and it just went mad. I agree with you, mate, and I want to know why. How did these people do that? Oh, and Robert Payne is reminding me that Derek Griffiths was around. Of course he was. Yeah. And Floella Benjamin. Floella, of course, not really an actor though, was she? She was more presenter, speaker.
I think she was an actor, but actors fall into those kind of jobs, you know what I mean?
She's done very well, though, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Great comedian that I was privileged to meet once years ago. Very funny man, Charlie Williams, Yorkshire.
Oh yeah.
Charlie Williams, funny. There's a name. Do you remember him on those game shows on ITV? What a funny man! And he was on that. What was it called? The one where all the Bernard Manning and everything were on it as well.
The comedians.
Yeah. He was great on those. He was so funny, wasn't he?
Yeah.
There are a few black actors been in Doctor Who. Like is it Carmen Munro is in Enemy of the World. Plays for Rhea.
Yeah, but there weren't that many. You know, unfortunately, because we
one of the astronauts in 10th Planet.
Elle Cameron, yeah.
We knew it was going to get better. I certainly, you know, after in my early 20s, in the 90s, we were different. We didn't badge people. We didn't label people. We were fighting for various rights and stuff. And then, you know, we knew it was going to get better in Britain because you were meeting more and more people from other cultures and more ethnicities, and more people were coming into the country. Look where we've got with that one as well. You know, and it was just carrying on and carrying on, wasn't it? And we were getting, and that's why a certain producer friend of mine years later said, oh, it would have happened earlier. We would have had, I don't know how the conversation came up, by the way. I can't remember. It's too long ago, but I do remember saying, of course we would have cast a black guy. Of course, we would have cast an Asian guy.
Yeah,
you know, it wouldn't have been a deal for them either. It wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have gone on with this. Oh, the first black, the first. The only thing that wouldn't have happened with him, of course, was a woman because he didn't believe in it. Marjorie,
like I say, Tom Baker's got a lot to answer for, hasn't he?
He really has.
Well, he really has. Yeah.
Yes.
Marjorie is saying to us, as a black woman, I like people as human beings. If your attitude is horrible, then I don't like you. End of. Quite right, Marjorie. Quite right. And you know, my best friend, she's black and she's beautiful and she's horrified by some of the stuff that goes on today. She said, "It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me." You know, goodness me. I think it's sad where we are today. But that wasn't the only story, unfortunately, because there was another one from the same source as well, from radiotimes.com, who seem to be on a mission to self-destruct with all their nonsense and the way they word things. They are suddenly, over the last few years, as we've proved over this year in headlines, woke as hell, quite frankly, probably run by kids that have just got out of university and have been infiltrated by all that nonsense that goes on in the education system. But this is Sharon D. Clarke. And she says she thinks Doctor Who missed a trick killing off Grace. Now, Clarke starred as somebody called Grace O'Brien in the 11th season of Doctor Who. Now, I had to look this up. I couldn't decide which season was 11th. And then I realized it was Whittaker's. And then I lost all interest, really, up to about, oh, God, she was in that. So she was in the Jodie Whittaker series, as the majority of you will know, because a lot of you stood it out, but God love you. But here's the story. And isn't this strange coming after the Joe Martin one? Sharon D. Clarke has admitted that Doctor Who missed a trick by killing off her season 11 character Grace O'Brien. In an interview with Radio Times magazine, Clarke said that she couldn't believe her character was brought to an end. She continued, "I was like, people, you've missed a trick here. To have those different generations of women in the TARDIS was glorious. A black woman, a white woman, and a brown woman." The flack that Jodie took for being the first female Doctor was ridiculous. Someone said that little boys no longer had a role model. What the hell? And now Ncuti Gatwa is a funky, funny, charming, cheeky, sexy black Doctor. We're on the frontier of time right here, right now, and we should always be pushing those boundaries. While she appeared in various episodes of season 11, Clarke also reprised her role as Grace in the season 12 episode Can You Hear Me, as well as in the 2021 festive special, because of course they're not allowed to use the word Christmas, special Revolution of the Daleks. She also gets to say this now. Sharon D. Clarke is doing the, I'll just explain. Sharon D. Clarke is doing the interview circuit at the moment. She's got a brand new drama coming out, which is being screened on Channel 5. Now, I was saying to the guys off stage, I saw the clip for this as part of All Creatures Great and Small's advert break in the week. And I thought, well, this looks good. The next bit didn't occur to me at all. Sharon D. Clarke on being British TV's first black female detective. I think it's the idea that black doesn't sell. I can't tell you I've never been number one before. You'd have to ask the people who do the programming. She goes on to say, Ellis star Sharon D. Clarke meeting real-life black DI was a blessing. Ellis's leading star reveals how meeting Merseyside's first black female DI prepared her for the role. So what's she saying to me there? Is she saying to me she couldn't have just met a female DI of any colour or any ethnicity and she wouldn't have been inspiring and she wouldn't have been able to learn something about how she deals a role? And then that other bit there where she's saying, I can't tell you why I've never been number one before. You'd have to ask the people who do the programming. Well, that's your industry, love. Don't be bringing it into society. Get your own industry sorted. Don't be saying to the rest of us in the public, you are this and you are this. I mean, I just found that whole interview from both her and Martin absolutely degrading and very insulting, actually, because again, these show business types are looking down at the real people, the people that actually support them in getting through their daily fantasy lives. And reward them by supporting the projects so they get the big bucks. And I just thought, hang on a minute, this is disgraceful. Chips on shoulders or what here? This is not the way to move forward, dragging us backwards, people.
I think it's made matters worse, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think these people that see everything in terms of skin color, they are the modern day racists. Everything's skin color. And she's just referring to pushing things forward as a character being black. You know, we've already established we don't give two stuffs if a character's black, as long as they're a good actor and they really do the role justice, whatever the program. But it only being good because the lead actor's black, it makes no sense. It's good if the stories are gripping, it's well acted and well directed and well produced. That's what makes it good. They're saying it's good because the lead actor is black. You know, it's like saying all black comedians are going to be funny. Well, I'm sorry, I've seen Lenny Henry. That's absolutely bloody untrue. You know, he's an arch racist in himself, in my opinion. But this whole color defines good or bad is just bull, and I'm sick of it.
Really can I actually the point that was raised in the chat there? I always meant to be a joke, but I'm not bothered if the next doctor, if we get a next doctor, whatever color he might be, whether he's black, white, I don't care if he's white. I just want him to be a good actor and play a good part as the doctor and be the doctor. It doesn't matter if he's Chinese, Indian, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as they can play the part really well and be my doctor. That's what I want. You know?
I think the majority of fandom and also the public would agree with you there. We need an actor who can play it. We also need decent scripts, which we haven't had for quite a while now. And if they're not going to give us decent scripts, a good actor will get fed up very quickly. I mean, I've always said that the last great doctor for me was Capaldi. But look at the scripts he was given. They were awful. Not where we are in 2024. And as Tom would say, we're now getting whippet dung, whereas before we got elephant dung, you know? But Capaldi being a strength and a talent and a capable actor lifted those poor scripts up and did something magical with them. So they're watchable. They might be awful scripts, but you can watch him in a performance. You can't with his successors because they haven't got that ability because they've been tick box casting and they're highly unsuitable for the role. I don't see the Doctor in either of those two at all. Certainly not with Shooty, who I've seen. I don't see him yet. I just don't. So you're right, Paul. But if it doesn't matter, we as science fiction fans, we don't care. We don't care as long as it's a good actor. And for Sharon D. Clarke to come along and Joe Martin to come along and say the Doctor couldn't be black. In your world, with the people around you who may have been saying that, Joe, but in our world, yes, he could have been. And he would have been if the show hadn't come off air, which you are obviously not aware of, in 1989. Had that show carried on through the 90s, it would have happened. And all of us would have gone, okay. And welcomed him in with open arms as our latest doctor.
It's people around, especially Joe Martin, people around, like you said, family, saying that the doctor can't be black. And she's attached that comment and inferred that it's white people saying it.
Oh, and that's a majority opinion, which is not.
It's a majority opinion, yeah, because she does say in the content, it does say it was the people around it. It was her family saying it. She was told by her family. But the way the Radio Times have written it in that headline has been massively put out of joint there. And they shouldn't be doing that. That's what we call clickbait, everybody. Yeah. But the content is that, and for Sharon D. Clarke to come across and say things like that as well. I mean, I don't know this woman. And again, apparently she's come from a soap opera or a soap drama or something like that. But she has done a lot of theatre and stuff like that. I've never heard of her. Sorry.
Well, she's in Important to Be in Earnest with Shooty. She's rehearsing that at the moment.
I was going to say she is in that one at the moment. But she does come across as slightly all about me and all about my agenda, like most of them are now, you know, and pushing that sort of stuff. There was that element there. Where was it here? I was like, people, you've missed a trick here. To have those different generations of women in the TARDIS was glorious. A black woman, a white woman, and a brown man. Now, what these people always forget, and we don't as fans, they're not interested in what came before. They're not interested in the 26 years of superior time travel television from the BBC drama department at the time, which is fantastic classic British television. They're not interested in all that. That doesn't matter. It's the here and now. It is all about the representation. They don't care the fact that it was established in 26 years of television that the Doctor was a male of his species. They don't care about that.
There's also her comment about an older woman traveling with a doctor. They're not brave enough to do that, which is a shame, because I think they could work really well in the same vein as Evelyn Smythe from Big Finish, which is superb. Yeah. With the Sixth Doctor, that worked really, really well. But TV execs aren't brave enough. They want something for the dads, don't they? Kind of thing, don't they?
I don't know what they want there. We could be asking ourselves that question in the next series, because of course we've got another companion coming in now, and it's a girl of color. Now, did anybody see any fuss in fandom when that was announced?
No,
I didn't. I mean, we've been there before several times.
If you look at the last 3 or 4 companions, that would mean 2 of them have been Asian women, which again you could argue is way over representation compared to the national demographic.
Yeah,
but and we had Sharon in the comics. They did that in '79, so it's fine.
Yeah,
you know?
Sharon was a big hit.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. Sharon was a big hit.
Good,
superb character. Yeah.
And yet, you know, had they done the Star Beast the way it was written in the comics, that would have been a massive television hit. They could have actually made it into 3 specials, which is what I thought they were going to do originally. Whoviewers, I thought the Star Beast was going to be part 1, part 2, part 3, but no. Russell had to just take the premise of it and adapt it, and changed the black character, the female black character, for a TW character, which doesn't make sense at all. It was just, again, there's the tick boxing element of this. Isn't it sad?
Sorry.
Isn't it sad, Paul Rose says, that we are still having this conversation after more than a decade of majority failures in entertainment due to DEI? It isn't changing yet, unfortunately, and they are still killing movies and TV. And yet you can actually argue that the rumors are that Disney are addressing it now because they've lost billions. They can't continue. You cannot continue alienating audiences if you're in entertainment, can you, Paul Rose? You cannot continue to hemorrhage money, because otherwise you're not going to have a business.
Yeah.
So at some point, somebody somewhere has to come around and say, what's going on here? You know, and it looks like that might be happening. Now, whatever happens with a huge company like Disney, if they do a correction course, everybody else is going to do it, but it's going to take years. It's going to take years. Yeah. I just want to address, before we talk about anything else, Keyring of Rassilon says, what about the Master Missy? Does that rub you up the same way? Bloody does. Again, an unnecessary gender change. The Master was a male of his species. He should never, and that was the testing point. That was the real testing point, wasn't it? And unfortunately, fandom loved Missy because Michelle is a fantastic actor, and she had them all here. Yeah. But that was not for me. That's not the Master. It really isn't. The Master is not a woman. Sorry, Keyring of Rassilon. My personal opinion. I just think, again, it's tip boxing.
But bring her back as a different character. It does a disservice to her, doesn't it? Really, that she doesn't get a chance to play her own character.
I was so disappointed when I found out she was playing the Master. If she carried on with this character called the Guardian of the Nethersphere, it would have been a huge, brand new enemy for Capaldi, a new fan base for the character. But no, they had to dry run. Oh, will the fans accept it? Will they accept a gender change?
We've said again. We've said before. Michelle Gomez, love her, fantastic actor.
Yeah,
loved her in Green Wing, absolutely bat crazy. But she could have been the Rani. It would have been fine. Female Time Lord, established character, a woman played by another woman, would have been fantastic. I could see Kate O'Mara regenerating into Michelle Gomez, no problem at all. You know, I could believe in my head that transition. But the Master, it was as much of an insult to Roger Delgado as it was an insult to Hartnell with Whittaker.
Totally, I totally agree. And there was no explanation for it. We were just told this is how it is now. You've got to follow this. That's not how fandom works. I'm sorry, no. I could have believed if they'd done a big epic story. Rick Storm saying they did do an older woman, by the way. Tennant and Catherine, she was an older woman.
I don't think she's that much older than, say, Billy Piper, really. She's not like Evelyn Smythe age, is she, really, to be honest?
No, I think back when she did it, I think she was in her 40s, and Tennant wasn't that far behind her. What Paul here is talking about, mate, is he's talking about somebody who would have been 20 years older than the actor playing the Doctor. So if you had Shooty now, who's in his 30s, a 56-year-old woman. You know, what Tom always joked about as well. He quite liked that idea. But what was I saying? Had they done some sort of epic series-long thing where a superior race was after the Doctor because he was the last of the Time Lords, they were dying out, they wanted the secret of regeneration to try and keep their race going, and then they put them through a series of very painful and graphic experiments and play with the regeneration and bang, trigger the regeneration. Oh, they get it wrong and it turned out to be a woman. Had they done some sort of science fiction way of bringing it in, I might have passed it off to say, oh, you know, something's interfered with his natural ability here. But they didn't even have the imagination to do that. They just said, no, this is how it is now. You've seen it before. This is how it is. Please. Hello and welcome. Sorry,
Moffat did it, you know, part of the reason I think in the back of Moffat's mind, you know, because he was always doing the inferences about sex and everything else, wasn't he? Because he can't help himself. I think one of the reasons was just he would have had in his head at some point, I'm going to bring John Sim back as well with Michelle Gomez, and we can have the Master chatting up the Master and talking about having sex with himself.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. This is supposed to be children.
Pure Moffat, isn't it? Pure Moffat. It's the only reason he does it.
It's absolutely disgusting. I was so uncomfortable with those episodes. This one I thought, I'm glad you're gone, mate. But then I knew who was taking over, and that frightened me even more because I never liked him. Hello and welcome to Who's Views to Paleo Clive 1684. Have I said that wrong? Paleo. Sorry if I've said that wrong. But you're saying to us the constant pandering to minorities and incessant anti-whiteness or misandry nowadays is both an unrealistic and sinister development in society and the media, and it's getting so tiresome too. I totally agree with you, and it's being pushed and pushed and pushed by these idiots in the entertainment industry, who are being paid for by a general public who are supporting their shows. They get money. If the general public turn their back, as they are doing on the BBC, for example, on it, that's when we get called names, isn't it? You know, because you know they look down on the British public, the BBC. We've got a lot of support here for Michelle. I'm not saying Michelle, but I love Michelle. Michelle's a great actor. I met her years and years ago in Glasgow. I loved her. And then she went into Green Wing. Loved her in that as well. I just think she should have been given her own character. And I don't think the gender swaps of any of the time. I wouldn't like to see Romana coming back as a big hairy fella, for example. Problem being saying to us, I personally love Missy. That is something the Master would do. I'll respectfully disagree. But it should be treated as something that doesn't happen for it to work. Paul Rose is saying, I actually like Michelle Gomez as Missy. Once again, a better actor than the material, though. She's a stunning actor. She's a stunning actor. What else have we got? Here's Forbidden Man saying to us, there was a program called The Chinese Detective in the late 70s and early 80s. I thought it was a good show, but it never took off because he had to take on the racism in the cops as well as the crooks. It was fairly popular though, wasn't it? Forbidden Man. It was.
He was in Destiny of the Daleks as well.
It was. But do you remember that the Chinese Detective was coming off the back of things like Bergerac and Shoestring as well? It was that sort of same sort of group, if you like.
Love Shoestrings, great show. Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't David Yip want to leave it anyway and go on to theatre or something?
I think
you
so,
know.
Yeah.
I
But
thought it was
also,
quite a successful series, wasn't it? Chinese
it
Detective.
was successful.
It went
Yeah,
down quite well.
it hasn't ever been repeated, though, to my knowledge. And even if they tried to, they would probably have to change the title now, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
For some unfortunate reason. It's great to see you all in the chat. It's absolutely wonderful to see you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Graham Dawson is saying, I saw on the Tube of Who that the program Loose Women is all black. Oh, why are you watching that? Sorry, Graham.
I think I saw something about that on YouTube, on Facebook somewhere. Yeah.
It's probably because this month is Black History Month in the UK.
That may be why, yeah.
And again, you can get some programs and some radio stations ticking the box again by saying, oh, look at this. I just think, why? Again, it's segregation. And they're so intent on bringing segregation back. It's almost here. It's almost completed.
I saw something. I saw something a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the universities in South Africa, and it had a sign up, and the sign was "No whites allowed." It's gone, like I said before, full 180.
Yeah.
But the only difference is it's tolerated, and there's no complaints from Europe about apartheid. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right to be racist against people with a pale skin, but you can't do it the other way now. It's the trend. It's another fashion, isn't it? And it's wrong. It's because they've brought in all these labels, and because they've all been on this blooming unconscious bias training. It's ridiculous. Say no to it. Don't go on to it. David Harding. The thing is, there was a perfectly acceptable classic series explanation for Missy. Anthony Ainley's master wasn't Gallifreyan. He was the body of Nissy's father with the master's brain. I get you what you're saying there, David, but it was never explained. Had it been explained that the master had just grabbed on to the nearest body that he could find, which happened to be that of a Victorian nanny, I would have forgiven it. But it's actually inferred he regenerated.
Yeah. There's all the suggestion what happened with Derek Jacobi, etc., anyway, so that's a different.
It's suggested that the master was given a new life cycle of regenerations to get him through the Time War. This is where this is the mess everything's in. Yeah. And of course, we had Derek Jacobi. That he went then to John Sim, and the John Sim one regenerated. It's inferred to the female one. So again, it's unnecessary. You know,
the whole
Sasha Dewan coming to us, I'm not quite sure.
The Nissa's father master was destroyed by the Daleks and became a slime monster that took over Bruce in the TV movie. There's no direct connection.
Well, no, that's the thing. So so I mean, it's all happened off screen, but it shows the mess now. And all I can see now in the narrative of our fabulous story is at some point I close the door and go, anything after that doesn't happen. Because it's just nonsense. And for me, it's actually in Capaldi's first season where Missy crops up. And that's where I close the door and say nothing else is relevant. I watch occasionally. I did watch. I haven't watched any of this for ages. I prefer proper Who. But, you know, when all this happened in Capaldi's first season, I thought, no, this isn't for me now. But I watched for Capaldi because I thought, yes, he's a great doctor. I like him. Even though they watered him down in his second and third series, you know, and made him accessible. But for me, it's not necessarily continuing the story because it just started to go too much to where we are now. All that started, and now look where we are. It's a mess. The bi-regeneration is a mess. The bringing back Tennant, it's a mess. The Ncuti Gatwa doctor, it's a mess. He was born a woman, a girl. It's a mess. It's a mess, everybody. It's a mess. Let's just accept.
I'm still waiting for an explanation why Tennant came back. They never explained that.
And why was he in those clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why was
I agree with you, JT.
At least he wasn't in his pants. That was something. But,
the entire thing from 2005, regrettably, just needs consigning to the bin of a different universe to the one that we left in 1989 or 1996.
Yeah,
you know,
I've always said, haven't I, Ian? I just wish that Russell had the balls to reboot the series in 2005 rather than building on what was left. Oh no, it's Doctor 9. It's a continuation of where it's gone. It's the same character. No, it's not. Chris Chibnall saw to that. He rewrote the entire character. The only good thing from fans is You can leave it in 1989. You can leave it in 1996. You can leave it at 2005. You can leave it when Tennant leaves. You can leave it when Smith. You can close the door if you want to on certain things because they've made it so easy to do. It's just ridiculous. It really is. And I just think it's such a shame. Why did Tennant come back in his clothes? The keyring of Razzle? RTD's explanation was nonsense. Yes, he didn't want Tennant in Jodie Whittaker's outfit.
Yeah.
And then he brings a bloody drag queen in a couple of years later, please. It's just nonsense, isn't it? None of it fits. They're changing their minds and their attitudes quicker than they change their underwear. Absolutely shocking. And that's why I think the show is an entire mess.
It is. Russell T Davies is RTD is going to be that thing that JNT feared that he would be. And he's going to be the person that's killed Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And, JNT was never that person, even though it got cancelled on his watch. It was getting better and it wasn't his fault. He was given a rough deal. And he genuinely gave a damn about that program. Russell T Davies, I don't believe, gives a damn at all. It's all about his agenda.
Now. Well, I think Jubal and Russell should take the blame for that, I think, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, they should do. And it's not that they're going to kill it. They have killed it. They've killed it stone dead.
Totally.
We've said many times, and it's proven. The British public are no longer there. They don't care. And the majority of fandom have gone on their way as well, haven't they? They've closed the door and left it. And that's it. Julianne saying to us, the whole mess is the fault of the new Who writers and showrunners. Bad creative decisions. You've been very generous there, Julianne, calling them creative decisions.
Yes.
And hello to Ron Sapp, who's on dodgy ground here, saying Master was also a snake, so a woman isn't far off. Ooh. Meow, saucer of milk. Catherine, hello to Catherine Reed, who's joining us. You get better scripts with a room full of chimpanzees on typewriters than what we get now. That reminds me of Mordred Undead.
Is that what we got?
Yeah. Oh, look, a snake. How very topical.
It is. Yeah, well, yeah, it is good to see you all, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this discussion here. Lots of chat coming here as well. RTD said it was problematic to have Tennant in women's clothes when he regenerated. He certainly did, because he blamed the media. And again, I think RTD believed that the media would get at the fact, there's Tennant dragged up in Jodie Whittaker's clothes. However, she had a spacesuit.
Yeah.
She could
to
have
be honest, they weren't particularly definitive women's clothes, were they? It's not as if it was a frock and a blouse or anything like that. It was a pair of trousers, braces, a t-shirt, and a long coat. Yeah,
they kind of done it with Sacha Dhawan when he regenerated or did that forced regeneration thing part of the Doctor. He was wearing virtually her clothes anyway, wasn't he? Remember that?
Well, there you go. Well, you see, I don't know what you're talking about, but there you go. So there would have been ways and means, but also as a fandom, and also I think from the public point of view as well, I think Russell was looking down on everybody again and thinking too much about it. The tradition was the Doctor regenerates, not the clothes. So people would have been expecting that. Yeah, but people don't. You can't. But you know what I mean? It's been like this more or less. Apart from that one occasion, it's been like this. That's the standard. Yeah. So to do that again, to pull that trick again, and then not explain it, it was never explained. Why did the Tennant face come back? Why did a version of his outfit come back? Why? Like
you said, if they'd set it in season 4 and just had extended adventures of Dawn and the Doctor, that would have been fine. Yeah.
Babette Bombshell's with us. Hello, Babette. The show knows now that plots can be lazy, concepts can divide canon, social issues can be poorly exploited, and none of it will matter because apologist fans will make up headcanon to excuse it. Excellent point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Really good point. And I agree with that, actually, Babette. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. I don't understand this. The TARDIS rejected the 13th Doctor. Why are female doctors supposed to be normal? What do you mean the TARDIS rejected 13? Was that a plot
point? It blew
point?
up and threw her out into space, didn't it? And she plummeted down through the roof of a railway train.
And survived that.
How she could survive that or re-entry is...
Where was this? When did this happen?
At the end of Capaldi's last episode, Twice Upon a Time, when she regenerates, that's how it ended. So.
Did this?
Yeah.
She goes, brilliant, and gets blown straight out. Unfortunately,
because she's getting blown out the TARDIS, she goes, brilliant.
Yeah. The TARDIS is going, get out, you shouldn't be a woman.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
only
did
woman
he
in the
do
Doctor's
that?
life in the TARDIS. Yeah.
Why did Chibnall write that then? Why did he do that? Why didn't he just write it where she's like, now then,
Yeah.
end credit series? Why would he say, oh, the TARDIS has rejected her? Why would he do that?
Because he'd probably already written the woman who fell to earth, so he needed a reason why she would fall to earth.
See. That's why it was the woman that fell to earth, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, that just defied explanation anyway. I mean,
absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But thank you for that, Robert. And
he did have the continuation of the TARDIS being lost for one episode, and then they find the TARDIS, and they have the TARDIS interior reveal. So they're dragging out the anticipation. I know it's really boring. I know.
Oh, sorry, I'm back. Hello. Really not interested in that nonsense at all. Here we go. Dr. Howe. Propaganda messaging is a core reason for falling and failing ratings. The public are averse to lectures. Certainly in the UK, more and more people are waking up. And that's why the BBC is seeing a huge amount of cancellation on the license fees. Excuse me. Cecilia Rough Diamond said, I'd actually forgotten Maestro. It's easy to do.
If only we all could.
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy to do. Let's see what happens in series 2. Oh God, why do I keep doing this to myself? John is saying JNT was a hero in my eyes. Well, he certainly, his legacy was intact because the modern version referenced his era so many times. I noticed from the Cloister Bell onwards.
Yeah,
you know, the TARDIS noise I noticed in the Shooty Gatwa at the doors. You know, certain things like that. God love them. I mean, they're so hypocritical. Pick and choose what they like because they've all forgotten that the Doctor's supposed to be half human. There we are. Let's just say that one, shall we? That was the conveniently.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. That no.
But you know, I mean, we have to if it's all canon.
Oh yeah.
How can the Doctor possibly regenerate into a female if he's half human?
Yeah.
These are the same bedwetters that think that all those Mobius faces were the Doctor. Well, how come there was no bleeding women in that then?
Well, I've just thought of something actually. The bi-regeneration, if he's half human, maybe that's why he cries all the time because he's the human version, and he can't regenerate anymore.
Yay! It's been worth it all along.
Yeah,
I've said it before. I think this is your last one. I don't think you're getting another one after this because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Let's have a look. Kieran Razlan saying RTD needs better and firmer script editors. Yeah, we've agreed with that before, haven't we, guys? Peter Harrington, Peter saying it's a plaything today to be messed up, molded in their image. And I enjoyed, says Graham, most of the new stuff, but let's be honest, it can't touch the original series. It's miles off, like a completely different show, because it is a completely show with a completely different character. The only things it's got in common is the title, Doctor Who, a police box exterior, and a awful version of the theme tune. And the rest of it has been up for grabs since 2006, basically. And they've changed, and it's just ridiculous. All of the excessive box ticking in modern Doctor Who I find incredibly distasteful. As far as I'm concerned, Doctor Who finished in 1989, and everything else takes place in an alternate universe. As Paul Stanford, I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I really can, and good for you for doing that. And that's the beauty of it. You can do that. You know. If Jinx can wear a dress, why can't Tennant? I don't. Well, take it up with RTD. He's not going to talk to us, is he? Jodie could never be cool, says Problem Being, because she clearly saw the role as a kids show character and did not take it at all seriously. It was a one-note performance from her first episode to her last. Oh well, that's a review. Would you guys agree with that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Really?
Definitely one note, and that note was also tone deaf. Absolutely.
Tone deaf?
Tone deaf. You know, not any kind of like nuance or anything. Horrible.
I don't think the TARDIS rejected Jodie because she was a woman. Where did you get that from? Says Keyring Erasmus. I think it was in the chat.
That was a joke.
It's a joke. Yeah, it's a
but
joke.
It can't be argued. It exploded and threw her out the door into space.
No, it can't. Well, if it was on screen, it did. But it's a joke, isn't it? It was also like the very bizarre alleged jokes that were around the time of, the Time Lord's now a woman and the TARDIS in the middle of a wall or something like that because she couldn't drive.
Bloody woman driving, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember those things in the papers at the time? Bit dated, but there you go. But no, I think that was a joke there in the chat, mate. Don't
it
worry.
was. Yeah.
Maestro was great also, says the keyring of Razlon. Well, we'll agree to disagree. Pain in the ass he was. And how's that going for him, by the way?
Keyring liked Maestro. Happy for them. Completely each to their own, and that's great. Just
but
not many other people did, to be fair, looking at the ratings, but happy for you. Absolutely.
I'm interested to see if children found him scary in that Cruella de Vil kind of sense, you know what I mean, in 101 Dalmatians, that kind of idea. But I wouldn't want my kids watching it. Not that I have any kids, but yeah.
Well, no, I mean, no, I wouldn't really. But you can go and look at our review on that one and my opinions on that one, because they still stand today. And I think he was awful. I don't think there was a place for him in the show at all. I would rather have had a different script and a different villain rather than the token casting. A mate of Russell's who happens to be a drag queen because drag rights matter. Oh, give over, please, as if there's such a thing. Absolute nonsense. Oh, this hasn't happened for a while, has it? Hang on. This hasn't happened for a while, has it, everybody? I hate to think what's going to happen here on this one now. Hang on a sec. Hello, this is Whose Views Headlines. How can I help you?
Whose views? Don't turn around. Don't turn around.
Oh, that was a bit weird, wasn't it? But strangely, reminds me, everybody, that this week here on the channel, Halloween concludes here on our channel this week as we look at the impossible planet on Whose Views Reviews. It's going to be this week, part 1 of 2. I'm sure you can guess what comes up after this particular one, so make sure you've liked, subscribed, and get ready. It's going to be this Wednesday, isn't it, guys? Live at 8 o'clock UK time, where we look at the impossible planet.
Is it the web planet after that one, is it?
No.
No. Okay, right.
You're better still with time left. Give it up.
Okay.
Paul is desperate to get the web planet on. It's going to happen at some point. But yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for whoever that was phoning us up there to say don't turn around, which of course is a line from the show.
What was it? The Beast? Was it the Beast?
It must have been. If you want to join us, it's going to be this Wednesday here on the channel live at 8 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, I watched it actually over the weekend, back to back, for the 2 episodes that we're going to be watching. Looking forward to talking about it. I haven't watched them since they were broadcast. So lots to say about it. Back to the chat. Hello to Jason. Jason Parker, it's good to see you. I wish JNT could see Chibnall right now, especially after he slammed Trial of a Time Lord on television in the 1980s. Do you know, Jason? So do I, because I can guarantee you JNT would be loving every single minute, and it would be sweet. Anyway, yes.
Sweet justice, yeah.
Could you imagine that, though?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, JNT could be so bitchy. He would eviscerate Chibnall. Chibnall would have, you know what? Chibnall would not have the grace to turn up and face that. JNT did, you know.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, on that day, he didn't realize he was going to be as ambushed on live television as he was. Yeah. And he never went back. He never went back to the Liverpool area to support the Doctor Who Appreciation Society in the Merseyside area, and took that to his dying day. But he got through it, didn't he? He got through it, and you know,
with good grace.
But he had no choice. Yeah. This is what people at the time didn't realize. He was basically being told,
not have the spine to do it.
Yeah, it was horrible what they did to him. It really was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was terrible. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Chinballs was asked how Dr. Karen. Oh, is that? I just realised what you mean. Right. Yes, it was asked how the Doctor survived when she fell to Earth. He said, just like Dr. Ten, who had his hand chopped off and regrew it because he was still full of regeneration energy. It was the same with her. What?
He's not Superman or Superwoman.
Yeah. Well, he is now. He isn't. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't make sense, what you're telling me there, because the 4th Doctor fell off a gantry from high up and had to regenerate. So why didn't Oh, I don't understand.
But she was just regenerated, so she'd had the regeneration. I think was what you mean. Yeah.
You see, that's a new thing as well, isn't it? I mean, they messed up regeneration in the reboot as well, didn't they, everybody? Let's face it. You know, they've made it into this big, ridiculous, nonsensical. I mean, even in one of the Capaldis, I remember him saying, "Oh, I'm going to regenerate now." And, "Oh, surprise, I'm not really, la, la, la." Oh,
it just really trivializes it, doesn't it? Yeah. Trivializes such an important thing. Yeah.
When Tennant had his last episode first time round, before he regenerated, when he was sort of like holding it off, he was full of cuts and bruises, and he just did that and healed himself. So, you know, by that definition, Tom Baker could have, the fourth Doctor could have done that from falling off the Pharos telescope.
That thing you just described there, I can forgive because I put that down as the regeneration starting.
Yeah.
You know,
although look at Matt Smith, he was an old man, but he could reset himself to the original version of Matt Smith. What was that about?
Yeah.
Because he did that. He was old, and then went back to be the young Matt Smith, then regenerated.
Well, we all know in the real world, it's because you couldn't have Matt Smith regenerate from the older version. He had to come back and do his swan song, didn't he? Really, and deliver his life as Matt Smith with the wig. You know,
well, they should have thought of that before they made him an old man. You know?
But they don't. It's in their story, and we all know that at certain times they can't finish a story properly. They always go back to, time's healed back, or not explaining it completely, or whatever. Or it's all nonsense, isn't it? Brian, in my view, Doctor Who is dead and has been for several years now. Capaldi was the last Doctor. True. And Keyring of Razon, again, as a one-off character, Maestro was great. I'm not sure I'd want them to return, though, probably.
That's a good thing.
I want him to return. Let me please correct you there. Keyring of Razon, he's not a them. There's not one more than one. He's a him. Thank you.
I think he will be back as well. I really do.
Yeah.
It would make me laugh if he is, because we'd have a great couple of shows going on here, wouldn't we?
We would, yeah. I bet he is. Yeah.
He was the one, Jarrett was the one that came on and said, again, like somebody in Whittaker's era, I think it might have been Chibnall or Whittaker herself, for every fan we lose, we replace them with 5.
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
Yeah. I can predict that Rogue will be the prisoner of Maestro in the finale at some point. Yeah.
And nobody's going to watch it, because by then, it'll be coming off the air and nobody will care. I don't know.
At Sutek's bidding, of course, as well.
Of course, yeah. And probably the Mara.
Yeah.
Probably the Mara will be in there as well. You know, all that sort of stuff. Who else can we bring back there? The Zarbi will probably be in there at some point as well.
Yes, for the Zarbi. Yes.
Yes, they've learned to thin their legs down a bit, you know. God, can you imagine? They would now, though, wouldn't they? They would now. They would do more CGI now if they did the Zarbi now. They wouldn't have fellas dressing up a bit anymore. You know. Thank you very much for the phone call. Yes, we are going to be looking at The Impossible Planet this week. Come and join us. You've got a couple of days now, of course, to watch that episode, those episodes, because the day after we're going to be doing the Satan Pit, and then that's the end of Halloween 2024, everybody. And then we're gearing up for you know what. What else we got here? Palio again is saying to us, Romana was referred to as a time lady in City of Death. Absolutely. She wasn't a shrill feminist like Whittaker, fortunately. Ooh. But no, it's true. I mean, that's where we got it all from. But they don't care. These people like Joe Martin and Sharon de Clarke and Ncuti Gatwa and even Russell and Chibnall, they don't care about that original story, because this is theirs. This is their one. Which is why I'm saying they should have actually just rebooted it. But I guarantee you, it would have been a failure, and it wouldn't be on for nigh on 20 years. It's only the reason it's Doctor Who, and a lot of us came back to it, that it's still there now 19 years later. Had it been the reboot, a lot of us would have gone, oh, that's a new version. It wouldn't have lasted 5 years, I reckon. What do you guys reckon on that one?
Oh, I totally agree.
100%,
yeah. It's just a shame. They should have gone with Doctor One, day one, I think. But no, he didn't have the balls to do it, did he?
No,
he really didn't. It's
Which
great.
is a running theme for Russell T Davies.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Dodgy ground.
I'm always wrong.
Hello, Joe Chapman. I'm just sitting basking in all this with agreement with what I think. And she's also, I love all of you for this. Well, thank you, Joe. And we love you too. It's nice to see you. Too, how are you, lovely? Pete Harrington is reminding us that Matt Smith fell from a spaceship, but he was in a suit and hurt. Did he get hurt? That was the
Was
Christmas
that
one, wasn't
Christmas episode, the one with Madge in it? What was that awful one called?
it? The wooden one, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yeah.
Women in the Wardrobe. Yeah.
Dalek Eye is saying they always say it's all about change, but they have changed it so much it's nothing like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Well, it's too far removed now to be like Doctor Who, isn't it? It really is, and it's. I think it's heartbreaking as a Doctor Who fan. I think it's absolutely heartbreaking what they've done. The problem being saying to me here, 5 what exactly? 5 viewers in total. Yeah. They all came back saying, and Jinx was the same, wasn't it? Jarrett was the same. For every ist or phobe fan that leaves the show and stop watching the show, 5 brand new fans will suddenly sprout up and replace us. Wrong.
They don't know the meaning of a minority, do they? That's the problem. So.
No, they don't.
No, and they are the minority that is, causing all the problems. They're not nice people. Hello, Mud Crab. How are you? Thank you so much for all your comments on all our various shows. He's saying here, "Woo, caught the end live." I don't really want to know about your personal life, but I see what you mean. Yes, absolutely outrageous there, Mud Crab. But it's nice to see you. Good to see you all. David Harding is saying, ever wonder what Romana did to regenerate multiple times at the beginning of Destiny of the Daleks? Was she shooting herself repeatedly off camera? Well, no. But the other point, I used to get shot down by this when this unnecessary gender change was happening, because I pointed that out as the example. She only regenerated into female forms.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Again, there's the original series proving the point there. Only female forms. Basically, she was trying
Romana
on a
2 is though Romana 7 or 8 now, isn't she? Really, to be honest.
Well, according to the new lot, it will be, but no, she wasn't. She was just trying it on and didn't lock it. She didn't lock the regeneration down.
Oh, right.
I think she was projecting a little bit like the Watcher, and then when she settled on one,
and she knew which one she was going to have as well, didn't she? She'd already set her mind to it. That's the whole point about Romana. The lovely bit there. She knew exactly what body she was going to put on. And that was it. She was just
well, Lala signed the contract, hadn't she? To be fair,
she had. Hi, Lala, if you're watching. I know she is. Hi, Sheila B. Sheila B in the Devotions is with us as well, and so is Sherry. Hello to Sherry. Nice to see you. The premise is perfect for spin-offs, for whatever bandwagon they want to peddle, and still let the Doctor retain his world style, etc. Apart from the spin-offs, and let the rating speak. Totally agree. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yes, go and do your own original shows, Sherry, and go and do all your agendas and stuff like that, and watch fandom not watch, apart from the teeny minority that thinks, oh, we must love this. And then, yes, I love that show. You're absolutely 100% correct in my eyes there. Great point, that. Thank you so much for joining us. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's have a look at this. Mark, our resident poet laureate, is saying here, Doctor Who and All Creatures got a reboot. All Creatures stay true to the beloved traditions of the original, while Doctor Who emphasized diversity and inclusivity to reach the modern viewers, which succeeded. Which succeeded. All Creatures succeeded, didn't it? Doctor Who didn't, really, no. It is interesting. It's all an interesting discussion there, what we've been talking about there with both the Joe Martin and the Sharon D. Clarke things there. It's also interesting what's going on rumor-wise, guys. I don't know if you've heard about this, but the rumors are reaching us. I have to stress these are rumors. I have seen various bits of paperwork about this, but it's very possible that what I've been saying over the last few months is incorrect. Now, I've been saying that Bad Wolf and BBC Studios were in a financial position to be able to produce Doctor Who on their own without any Disney input. It's possible that's not the case. And there are rumors going around at the moment that after all these 8-9 years of being in business, that Bad Wolf may not be in financial shape and that they might not be able to do something like this. And I thought this was very interesting. Now, I have to stress, these are all rumors that are coming to us. We're going to keep an eye on this. But there is information on the internet you can look up as well. You can see that the business as of 2023 was labeled as a micro business with a turnover of just under 632 million a year, with under 10 employees. Yeah.
632 million.
Well, what's 632 and then 3 zeros?
632,000.
Thousand, isn't it? Yes, sorry. It's late at night and I can't see what I'm doing. 632,000. Allegedly. This is all there, but it's all a matter on... you can get things on the internet. My dyslexia is playing up now as well. But, you've got all that going on. And I just thought, oh, hang on a second, maybe they can't. Maybe they do need the Disney input to carry this on. I just assumed because they've had some really good productions out in the recent past and some good, strong players that they would be able. But what do you think? Are they in that position where they can do that? Possibly
That
not.
doesn't sound like that much money.
No,
really.
it's not. No. It's not. And these are the rumors that are around at the moment, everybody. Now, obviously, we are going to be looking at this and keeping an eye on it. And if anything comes up, we will be reporting this. But there's an awful lot that's happening there from Bad Wolf that we're not quite sure of. We do know that they have finance as well from the Welsh government. And it seems that Bad Wolf's financial strategy shows alleged reliance on that governmental support. So they had a £4 million loan in 2017 from the Welsh government, and that's helped to allegedly maintain operations, reportedly and allegedly also directed to salaries.
Oh.
So there's an awful lot going out there when it comes to all this, all these rumors that I'm hearing, and it's all coming to us, and allegedly limited cash flows and profitability. It's interesting, isn't it? So,
it is.
And with overhead expenses now rocketing again.
Is that why they can't afford season 3? Perhaps, who knows? Yeah.
Maybe that's why they are so determined to keep the likes of Disney on board, because Disney allegedly could have been responsible with the production. We know the majority of the production from the Tenant specials to the end of the Sea Devil thing.
Yeah.
So it looks like some of the rumors that we were hearing could possibly be true.
If that 4 million thing was a loan, then they will have to have terms for the repayment of that loan. If it was a grant, maybe not. But if it was a loan, and the government shouldn't be making grants to private businesses, really.
Yeah.
That's it doesn't sound good, does it?
As a lot of you in the chat are saying for me as well, these are rumors.
Yeah.
But rumors sometimes have an awful lot of base in fact. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this, and we're going to be looking into this a bit more. And thank you I won't name people, but thank you to those of you who are sending me all this information. It is very interesting reading. But it's definitely something I think we need to look back on. Talons is saying it here as well. 630,000 is a terribly small amount of money for a production company. All alleged. It's all alleged. Doctor Who isn't the biggest earner, is it? That we all thought it might be. Thank you.
They've killed it now, haven't they? They've killed it. So why would it be?
And it shows the interest isn't there. The marketing, the merchandise certainly isn't going to be making them any money. And I reckon the BBC Studios deal would say they would get the majority of the money anyway, because it always did. That's how they were created, weren't they? Through the Dalek merchandise. So they're not going to let Doctor Who go fully, because certainly the merchandise, I reckon the majority of that would go to the BBC Studios, so that they could say, we will input this amount of money into the production deal. Do you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, yeah.
And as Dalek, thank you for that, Lex Kane. What would Journey's End be like if it was Smith? Same. Yeah. The same. I think it'd be exactly the same. Dalek I saying, is it a coincidence that they're so very quiet right now? And that brings us right back to the start of the show. Isn't it just? Some things are going on, I reckon. Am I speaking out of line there, everybody?
No, I think
you're right. That makes logical sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the lack of any other evidence, you have to make inferences, don't you? And it's a logical assumption.
Yeah. Yeah. But obviously it's not working. And because it hasn't hit off the way I'm sure they all expected it to, and been 2005, 2006, 2008 all over again, when it could have been, all he had to do was write decent scripts. It could well have been, and he didn't bother. John Mason saying to us they can't be making money on merchandise. Peter Venkman fans correctly saying classic Who is their wheelchair. Yeah, the cash cow is Doctor Who, proper Doctor Who, 63 to 89. Look at the success of the box sets. Keep an eye on us for that one, about the way.
Oh, these little beauties.
Yeah, proper Doctor Who. And congratulations to everybody who managed to find their new B&Ms, the Emperor Dalek, Davros, and the Resurrection of the Daleks ones, by the way. Lovely to see you.
They're very, very nice. I took mine out the packet just to annoy people. I have both of them here. And of course, my favourite one, I have to show you this very, very quickly, just so I can do this again, is little Emperor Davros here. There we go. Look at that. Isn't he beautiful? And he doubles for deodorant as well. Look at that. Isn't that really good? There we are. Yeah.
As he did with the real life model as well. Anyway,
exactly. Yeah.
Julianne, haven't Disney made walking away noises because they only held on to 30% of the new subscribed to Series 1 past episode 4? Now, this is part of the rumors we are hearing. So Disney, of course, expected things like Star Wars, the Marvel Universe, and Doctor Who, believe it or not, to bring subscribers to their channel. And allegedly, that hasn't worked. So I know in the case with a lot of the Star Wars fans, they got Disney Plus, saw the stuff, and then cancelled it. You can see the reports on the Tube of Who. You can read about it as well. And I get that. Julianne, you're right. But the thing with Doctor Who is it's not Star Wars and it's not Star Trek and it's not the Marvel Universe. It's not a giant. Whatever they may think, whatever their intentions are, this is a British homespun science fiction family drama. It's not up there with the big boys. It is for us as fans. Yeah. You know, it is, but it's not with the viewing public. And I don't think personally that Disney understood that. And they thought it was going to be this big, huge thing that would bring them more subscribers. Apparently, it hasn't. So why would you keep something on your channel if it's not bringing you subscribers? It's all speculation, of course.
But fingers crossed.
Well, as ever, we're going to be watching it, aren't we? And we're going to be needing it. Lex Kane is also saying we need a classic science fiction streaming service with proper sci-fi. Didn't we have that? What happened to it? Didn't we have that once upon a time here?
What, the Sci-Fi Channel, you mean? Was that the one?
Yes, that's right. Wasn't it there?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I thought it was quite interesting that, you know, everything's been quiet this week. We're hearing more things. There's gossip about Bad Wolf. There's gossip about the Disney deal still going on. Lee is saying to us here, if merchandise sales flop this Christmas, they're stuffed. Well, they are going to be that turkey, aren't they? Because let's face it, they are going to get a good stuffing because what merchandise is there? And I think I've said that before on the show, you can go to a certain retailer here in the UK, buy anything from this new era of Doctor Who with that beautiful, gorgeous diamond logo on it, and you can get money off instantly. You can get £3 off, £4 off, £5 off, £8 off certain titles, including the brand new ones that have come out in the last 2 months. That's shocking. That's shocking. They're almost remaindered as soon as they get onto the shelf with the discounts, so the retailer can get it out, get them off the shelf. So I think they're already that stuffed turkey, Lee. I really do. I really, really, really do. Listen, it's great to see you all, actually. I just want to come up to this with an our usual I'm finally story here for this evening as well. We know that companions in Doctor Who, usually, unless you're Adric, leave the Doctor and go off and have other lives. Look at Sarah Jane. Look at Jo Grant. You know, if it's led to be believed, Leela also had a right great time over on Gallifrey.
She's got 14 children now, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. Martha, she went on to stuff. Rose went to work for Torchwood, didn't she? All this. Even K9 spawned a few others. Anyway, yes. So it's great to see that the one and only scientific genius from the third Doctor's era, Elizabeth Shaw, is alive and well and working on chocolates. These are available
nice chocolates as well, to be fair. They're really nice.
These are available right now from your local B&M store for the bargain price of £4.58. That's £4.58. And as you can see, Liz is busy doing things like mint honeycomb crisps to our own recipes and scientific devices. Mint honeycomb crisp there as well, which is also in the blue box. And you can get a zesty orange. She's also bringing out these. You can get dark chocolate mint stars, white chocolate salted caramel hearts, and milk chocolate cinnamon stars, all based around her adventures with the third Doctor.
And green ones from the Silurians.
Yep, absolutely. That's where it is.
Red ones are Inferno.
Where did you find the time? I don't understand.
I'm just absolutely delighted that she's alive and well and very busy, having got rid of that Moonbase on unit. That's Moonbase. Come home and said, now I'm going to actually start a chocolate business. So good for her. Mudcrab is saying Liz was great, wasn't she just? And so she is. So well done to Liz Shaw, and I can't wait to sample your chocolates.
A strong, intelligent female lead character in 1970. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah,
exactly. Keyring is also saying free eye patch with every box. Anyway, listen, guys, thank you very much for joining us, Third Doctor, Paul, and myself here on this edition of Headlines. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for liking, giving us a thumbs up. Thank you for all your input. So important on Headlines. Come back and join us on Who's Views on Wednesday for the round off, if you like, for our Halloween season this October, as we look at the Impossible Planet, and we will be doing the Satan Pit the night after for that. So come and tell us what you think of this 10th Doctor story. Interesting watching it back. It really, really is. Yes. And don't forget, when they drop a headline, we're going to be here to talk about it. And let's just hope we don't get a call from Bedouin in the next 10 minutes saying, oh my God, this has happened, and we have to come back in 10 minutes time. Like we did last week. Paul, Ian, thank you so much as ever.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to you too.
Great time.
And we will see you later on in the week, everybody. Until then, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check to see if you are already still subscribed, and we'll see you again soon. Ta-ra then. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Oh, you'll be delighted and somewhat surprised to know that you can now own Who's Views merchandise. Yes, a range of mugs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, cuddly toys, a cheer please, and other goodies, all putting official Doctor Who merchandise to shame. It's now available from the Who's Views shop. You can find it on the store tab on the channel or by scanning that squiggly thing there. Yes, that box thing. Scan that. Not sure how. This doesn't actually tell me how you do it. But no doubt you Who's viewers will know. You're clever. Anyway, there it is. Who's Views merchandise. Good grief.